is our confidence. God is our protection. God. Onyamini yenyina so. Power from TVXY and TF4 and Yashafo nyina. Mobo ye chidom kaya ho. The voice of the people is the voice of God. Munyina mujitum said ya na ye. Ete no de chasa nyamia kasa, nyamia endoso. Echebia de enkomo kase de baba shisha so. And enkomo kase na very simple. Say samia wuku kase omo strategy bi say. In fact, campaign manager my His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, Professor Joshua Alabi. When you can pay was say huna. Say MPP for kasa sana. Ghana for hunu say huna. Oba wusa say baby ayadu no. Oma pem, omo ni hwe fo, omo ni bibia foforo bia e de ma Ghana for. Omo ni oma dwen so omo ba be ye bibi foforo e de aboa mo oman no. Am oman na sori agina ne na so. Woni hwe de ma eti dia to no ne patapa. Ye munua ngum. Ye fa huna bi say gofo bu. Say ye ba be wi ababu. Yako high gofo bi. Ye de vigilante for ko post service mu. Ye de ma ko bambo nyuma mu. Meseni nyina egosi aga. Wona me nya adwa fra me. Wona me ya adwa fra me. 0208984166. Samia wuku kaso mo strategy bia. Me hunu ne say wiamu strategy. Wo so hunu ne say ye komo kase ni nie. That's right. 0208984166 and 050000257. Ojana so. Ghana is in an economic crisis. Head of the economic management team no. On tena ne toso nine di wanamontuomu se crisis wo di hujuma and wonam na wo se mami city. Are these people serious? Ekofobu obi serious. Woni bibia yenti na wasoma the finance minister. So meka che Ghana fo nyina se e ka na eda ye so no omodi ano dewa etimia dia no ama sese e ka no ye pia kwa nanim eti abanfoforo bi ba no abetua ye ma ne sori omunyini a no ma ba abetua eti anu nti ye ma ensemo mo na Ghana fo ye hwe mo eto buka so mo strategy bia e de no mo patre strategy de de strategy 0208984166 Fresisi e Brabeka nkomo no 0208984166 and 050000257 or so Prince Shahumano Mame. Fomutum. Hello morning. Emerson on Timinka. Minim the entry. 0208984166 050000257 or Maya Yenny Drew baby I dream. Is your tiny and Srugu Jim. You got a got a new you choked. Weba was what the Ministry of Sanitation. Abba. The so fast one day. For the past 7 to 8 years. And then from home. All sectors of the economy failing. All sectors, agri, health, economy. And digitization. Baby failing. Baby I poto. You go man so hello morning.
Morning.
What do you mean baby I'm free?
You free Shama.
Same mo kasa omo strategy I would do say.
Oh, I am Pakiasam.
Say.
Pakiasam pa nim jan sakra.
Say. Na say ya kwato aba ya the strategy and a to aba na.
Maybe am perfect aba ya the bound ya get aba.
Oh, okay. It was a strategy that wo ka bibi fufuro.
Oh, ka asamba yan se bi.
Ah no e dey.
Ah so you might from 2 hours and 8 years ago. And they papa.
That's it. You got the next caller 0208984166. Professor Joshua Alabi say omo kasa sana. Na say who be no mo person omo de Ghana for mo mo masam nim to who. Professor Alabi na manage John Mahama campaign. Hello morning. Bowdin na baby am free.
Oh.
Bowdin and na the free. Well, Kafra. Minister no to yen chiadia. Bahanya fuomo. Efuom ne tu. You got the next caller. Hello morning.
Hello.
Bowdin na baby am free.
Region.
Okay, so from region you for say.
Really?
I don't refugee.
Tella.
Tola yeti o kasantentem.
So you all can
Dabi yeni atem ha. also strategy and I make us or catch a strategy. I dream a bessie a trim any remu. What am I doing? And I want to make you and be the hello morning.
Hello, good morning.
Bodina baby of free.
Oh, your friend, I'm a first fee from Catamanso.
Very well, yet you.
Back on me, Mamma Back.
It does say.
Oh, Kaiser 2008. 2008, we're brand Ghana. I association in Yabrina,
yes.
MPP 4% Comulia Abano. And I tell you, Gina no can say. Sabawi and Costa the other Costa the Nimetim who form pen and now. I want to say in a hand quiet to say Kenya. That's not Kenya.
That's right.
Sana and Nemria and no cafe. Kenya, ding. That is about 2008 this year. We say in a hand conquest. We are about the we are about we want. It will mean death for her because there be
a holy man call. Man cancer, Mr. Wada. Where your bedroom casa why? What your young cast no wa bra. Young one how bra young fa a who ancient go for mu. Young cast no young cast, you name common. Okay, me from the last but one caller. Hello morning. Hello morning.
Good morning.
Bodina baby of free. When you're ready, Bodine. Oh, free Asama, your first say.
My friend 2020.
2020 Kasayet you.
Alright. Some papa some Okano. Young Bongu, and then some Oka.
Yamongo.
On you baby of a catcher Ghana for.
Okay. Me da say Samia Ukunu. Nano said na money na wabo so kai. Woni mane miami ahodo money na o Samia Ukuni. Interesting. Well, ya fan twene ha nia ka no ye ba ye kwa ni ma ye beto so ye bebo ye tonton sansan no pay. Ensem bia Dr. Manebo am director of elections Emma NDC amanyo kodi abeto dwa ye bebo mu tonton sansan. Owura Richard Jakpa ena wo yobi ewo asenibia. E dia de no ye nyame ncha de. Wo butwa ba TV so me ye hwe bi. Ebi amfoni ni ye be ye kyeremo. No ma hwese de nkomotwetwe ne koye. Aseni ne ba na wie ye na at least for nra no. Wonya bra ne nsantwefo kasaye. Watoto jabi seja no. Ye be bia so de akyereo. Basabre e bra so se ye de agodi mu nsamba bra mu wa bra bo no ye no nsia pa wo se madio no. Eti we de jaso. Because another Roger Emmanuel the sports monarch was quite on militant level. Soja ni koko. Osire ni koko. Roger. Eye agudi emu nsem nyina. Ohenkase the sports monarch. Wajina kunya. Sports monarch ya mwaje mu agwaba.
Kwame Misumi Joso hu ti sena no pay good morning.
Nana ya huye. Nana ya de na wo mai anope.
Right, and I don't pay Kwame Kanya Pay Comedy Atroti Atroci, the good also some Eddie Seven so a prayer corner for Europe Games outdoor hair course only say Euro 2024 Gusaka Senra Games a course on Nanyas Kitua Nina Honsa some Bana the Dutch Netherlands Homo a qualify common in Afi France so qualify and Afi other games a course on some Eba Copa American Sugusua and a course on some partner Fibremo Nafi area Nema City transfer news no Nina so some pay. Ya trust ya some eba fin some no toso na no pay abon nyina no na no pay ye di April ewo jumado so na no pay no me kamfo to vita eba clinic dia ma se obeda woni tentem akopiem ewo aso na fem Paul se be apomodin se ebetimi akoka se ye pema na se untimi mbo ejuma empem omode bon chana akoka bomodin se obeto na montentem sia na fe ovrum o to vita eba clinic so ye na fe no etimi abo sexual weakness premature ejaculation afi erectile dysfunction ni nyina mu bomodin se obakona fem abo ye perform ewo 024626 5313 024626 na 0205586877 5586 afi ani Dovita Bakron Kenyamo etimi edi enkama meeting edi Roger Imano from the sports Monarchy Botela and afi kodofo so mutechire emanano pe besin konya medin sem eba Facebook power 979 na watimi adwane na afi niamas etimi aye kama ye pensa se emfafi Ghana Football Association wanam asena ferresema eno ekosna onim se na sen na ebabetu ja se start time at some equity media right Ghana League no womo na eyi no mo kiremu a ɔmo ntoase ne Ghana Football Association entimi eni dwuma bi nam so ema perifo guso ɔmo hwɛ sɛ ɔmo ebetimi anya headline sponsor ɔno ebetimi abanwachi media right ɔmo hwɛ ne sɛ ɔmo etimi anya company ɔno so betimi aboa na fi next season Ghana League ni hyase a ɔno etimi eyi na fi bibia so etimi akokende wuda wɔn kyerema nyadia Ghana League ɛkɔso no yɛhyɛ ɛwɔ headline sponsor perifo guso a ɔno epe bi sɛ nneɛma ɛsɛ ebetimi akokɛ reporter yɛtete ne se na no penyame ya toma anopa du ba ko pepe ɛwɔ Ghana Football Association ɔno aso no ɛna perifo ekyirem sɛ adia ɔmo ɛbaba na se partnership na sɛ no ɛyɛ dwumako ba ko a ɔno ɛyɛ sponsors ɔmo ɛbɛpoa na fi Ghana League no nneɛma etimi akokante nya ne te sɛ nyame ya toma na no pe Ghana Football Association ebe unveil company ba ko a wɔmo ɛna Ghana League no ɔno ɛbɛbɛ sponsor na onim sɛ nansi ɛna ɛbɛbɛ tuja sɛ adia Lily Tasty Food ɛsɛmo ɛho dwumadi ɛna ɔmo die ɛno ɛna nansi ɛbɛtu dwa sɛ ɔmo ɛyɛ sponsors ba ko a ɔmo die ɔmo ho abɛdɔn Ghana Football Association ɛnkyɛ ɛkora abɛtu dwa sɛ nyame yɛ adoma Ghana Football Association ɔmo ɛsan so benya no partnership a ɔno ɛbɛboa ɔmo sɛ bɛya ɔno dwumadi a ɔmo ɛdin ɛnso nneɛma ɛbɛtimi ɛnso akɔyɛntewe ɛyɛ report fi Ghana Football Association ɔno camp a ɛno abɛtu dwa yɛre ho nsɛm ɛtu dwa away from that yɛwuram ɛwɔ nsɛm from mu yɛwuram ɛwɔ former Blaster player yɛfɛ John Mensah mede bɛ twem kra no na wɔyɛ captain ɛde the Blasters of Ghana ɛde nsɛm ɛtu dwa sampa nokura ɛyɛ baako pɛ owura Otuado ne second coming a waba Blasters no ɔbɛka sampa 2 matches ɔbɔy a ɛyɛ competitive games ɛno ɛyɛ World Cup matches mienu ɔbɔy no yɛ sɛ hwɛ team no mɔde mbɔ a na ɛwɔ so yɛ pa wɔkyerɛ m sɛ Blaster performance no na ɛwɔ so sɛ adeɛ hia ɛne sɛ Ghana fo nyade ɔmo support ɛbɛtimi ɛde ama team no gyiri sɛ ɛbɛtimi abɔ ma nama ɛtimi akɔkɛ yɛntie owura John Mensah ɛnsɛm a waka ɛde afa Blasters current performance a ɔno ɛta ne di.
I think it's very good idea for the coach also and his colleagues John Pinton and Statauda and the others. I think they are doing well. The guys also are performing well. So I think we have to give our maximum support for them to continue to do well for the nation.
Ati John Mensah, former Blaster defender, ena moti se odi sansebono so edi atujare from Tati Ekoso from na Aaron Samano Ekoso na odim se Una woni chirma club for the summer test. Omo na Ghana League no waje. I want the 61 point na edi Ag League no. Onum say league no mo win 15 matches e wo fie na omo elusu baako pe na afi baako pe so no mo e board drone to so hwe mo a de afi we niam akoyie pa edi mo yem league ni wie kra no na summer test omo Ag League no da no kire sample mo e crowd say team no onom a prepare Africa no onom e ba bakoyie pa report ya tete and it say summer test omo hyase yes o hyase e bru nsu ntema na wani e ye summer test onomo ahyase a onomo preseason onomo ahyase ehwe no be se bipia so betimi akoye edi amamo na no na perifo da tuja se sisi amedo kase na team na ahyase a onomo epopo omo ye pa players a womo ewo team no dada no omo ahyase omo eye preparation no chi perifo da tuja se new players a omo akase na team no omo ebe before aputi na sara no chi no onomo awrem ewo Africa onomo ekona summer test for safe tuja so ma ye crowd se Champions League no omo ebe ko akọ lifting Ghana flag ne high serbia ebetimi abona fe bibia se betimi akopani a ye fa na se nsenchire wono eye CEO adima samates edi sabakra edi tuja yentie ponini sema ono eka.
And even pay our bills. It can't even pay our hotel bill. We are representing Ghana in Africa, and I expect all corporate bodies, all individuals, philanthropists, whoever to come to our aid and help us push the agenda so that in the nearest future our slots in Africa can be increased, because when we do well, it affects automatically everybody in the football family. Sorry.
Okay, T Openia na so no ASU Erima Club for the summer test. Ana boti se wodi sasem na tuja se Africa ndi omamba ko na mum na ebehia anises kasam niema ebetimi akoye nti omo hia se corporate bodies ebetimi abobo omo se be ya omo sikasam ebetimi akoye sanse omo koi dia se flight omo de beko ani sika de chese omo behia bi na fi recruitment na dade nyina no omo de awrom se be ya group stage obetimi free on afi omo awrom so na fi bipia se konkanti we ensem asiwo erima club for na summer test doctor eye dua senchire ensem awodi atuja no na owura adimodaka onim so no ene general manager erima club of na Samatex na sen ena nsem ni nam ma Dr. Nyawonya Otamakru enkra be kan se o league na club a ye fe na Samatex gie no eye corrupt and bribe league ena te so mu GNT embroye ni kankan pade na ewo league ni mi ye pasa se koyo mu fa so a omu gi league no na se sketua ani nioma e course ena timi boye ema club of na Samatex omu GNT league ni de na enye krabe hwekra league no na senya de nioma ekoye no mu ha so focus so afie omu di pa mu hu kwan clubs ni fa so a afie omu si akan no aha so focus ekoda 14 for no see next season omu so abo mu hu ye pa ase omu advantage ndi sa kwan na dodo na be fa so na omu gi league di ahas omu nim ye pa next season omu so be ye omu de na league no omu so etimi so agina se be betuja and opede for the model academy se matuja se one de obetimi akesi su dia se Samatex league no omu gie no na eye clean league omu gie eye omu performance and e kire se ampa omu modibo wosoro and etimi bo ma league no omu gie nti so bitina baby e kese Samatex league no omu gie no na enye liga enshara enye competitive na woni sani pakono enya dwe ura adimodaka wono eye general manager ma club of the Samatex na moti se wodi sansem no enso edi atuja yemfio na fe yenko nsemu fremu ene urem okrobia kumase asantike de kono aso ya muguso eye recruitment ahodo asomu hwe no se bibia betimi akoka na so e masisi amede okase abrante ba ko a wono esina kaidema Great Olympics ni modibo eye dia eso edi papa se report abetuja ne se adia club of the Santiago de compare for any abrante de kase di enkomo edu akiri ye pa ese abrante for the Kasim ise report ba se kotoko any abrante akase edu akiri ya likely say obabe jani krobia kuma se Santiago de consider ya next season kotoko league na ebopono obetimi abedum akoti apoa serebe ya kotoko bipianso ebetimi akoyi eremom na recruitment perefo eye na coach Dr. Prosper na togumunum se onini perefo di Kenya Canada se this season onum enyisu more than 28 players on be yiso no ebe ye between 26 to 28 players na Asante Doko ebe yiso mtinya dia omukoto players bebrebe bia na fe be wie chire no na season ba na bia na fe omo asanso ede asaki omunyina anam so emenei ensem kra betuja se abrante fe na Donald Ibrahim na ne bodobon shara koka fi se oko World Cup de ba no na ne performance na decline no nti na oba akotokwa na onye binda anu na Donald Ibrahim eri nsema betuja se onu de oni coach ni problem bia o na mo sansem na amanfo ka se oko World Cup ne baye na ne performance edipuye na se decline ya nyoma shara koyi e ma na wolusi ni position to abrante for Frederick Asare no o se sansem na nukre ba kokra enim yenti Donald Ibrahim former Kotoko goalkeeper
onye hwe pa mama opportunity mama Premier League game man oba no oba me captainship is not easy say people on power no so niema na ebia enya ba me na make am bia me timi chance na me come ho ebia coach me feel say easy me but Obia on the side no media he wasn't a bad person at all even though Obia on the flops but me try say me so me for too much on the flops say there be anya basa
Okenti Donald Ibrahim player former player di ma Santiago de ko and say and amuti say wodi sansem no enso edi atuja na yera ho gina krobia kuma say Santiago de ko nsensem no onim say omu twen say ade anyame ya duma 17th of July ade democracy cup no money house folk ebetimi ade ahye so na afia bo ase be ya bibia betimi akonkan reporter abetuja ne say Sudanese player abrante for na say Kasim Abdulrahman abrante no anya babedu Ghana ase washa se ene krobia kuma se Asante ko konsugusu a wo mo etweni sekoba se ne modibo ne sitie e wo Sudan e mare kibobo kono no se nyamba etimi ekoyedi a krobia kuma se Asante ko ebetimi asane se be abrante no ebetimi esi akan ere ma club e fa na krobia kuma se Asante ko ntiwe e report and se fiora man epa yanko hasofo ko ma so ye ise report abetuja ne se abrante a ye fa na se asamwo boatin the free ye Usina Kandima Nation FC report to say one house of folk bobo can ewie abrante anyone say enchekra obetimi adwane house of folk na fe ono se esia kan edi ama has bobo kan na reporter and also efio no no so etimi abetuja na yewremu ewo Midiama Sporting Club om asoye na before be come Midiama Sporting Club asoye na abrante bako ye for Michael Mensa ewa ono sisi Akarima Nation FC ono se reporter ba na se house of folk also need the abrante ne cha akakuma bi na so many abrante ne se wie na ono se ba bejirim esi akan edi ama club ha ye fa na se haso folk nti eno eye reporter no se fio no ma eno so etimi so ababetuja yenko media ma sporting club aso ye reporter abetuja ne se abrante fa na kojo amoako tete media ma echire mu dia omna abrante no apart ways club yo pobia no obetimi akọ no na fi wakwakosi akan enso edi ama monte no ye sema efi media ma sporting club omu camp Axenos apa yari ahonsansam enso edi etuja ewo shonos yemfa ni nkyeremu ewo ensebo from yekọ abrante for na sebe makwala na wosi akan eri makrobia Kumasi Asante de kosese onye kotoko play bi msase abrante we naka otumfo setutu ono life petrol edi Asante kotoko di tuja se ne performance na oda na di ewo league ne no sika bi abrante de behia bia no naka kotoko aye crowd se the contract eswa akomba renew na fi omu di amano na se de be obetimi etina kotoko isi akan na ka 3 month na ne contract ewu na abrante no ekopimo Uganda emra na oko international break no ho and abrante no edi nsem etu kotoko penefo nim se nyadia or return to Ghana bi msase okokra no ne wasesa ne nema nyina tse na wodi continue player no na woye na gise nyadia kotoko obetu aso esi akan ede wo msese abetu jase Simba FC omo Tanzania ono asa abrante na se busimi bia sika abrante no beji no eye $9,000 ni sika abrante fo na Steve Makwala ono ebetimi age ewo boboko no busimi bia ne sane onfi aso eye $130,000 eno eye sika abrante a ye fo na Steve Makwala awokosan 3 years ede ama Simba FC no na se no eye sika abrante no ono se ebetimi su age enti eno eye sema eno se epa na unim se abrante a ye fo na Enoch Morrison na wosi akan eri making face na kotoko efa abrante na abrante no onim se wasan 3 years na edi ema santikidoko na 3 years no obon first season the second season na se abetuja se coach Prosper na Togum afatetefo na wafra abrante no na waka ne se ohwese na nemasiko ni direction of pese club ni kono nyadia obetimi ni na to asenti wonko na wode koto mpenefo nkodi nkomo na se be and contract no no terminate ni atie and se haso folk omo ashe interest abrante for Enoch Morrison has mpenefo epese abrante no mo assign no enti eno eyensema efi abrante for Enoch Morrison wonase na katia eno so abaire wonsem enso edi tujantewe eyensema kakra no se etimi so akose kama yewremu awo Olympic Games unim se enchekra ada 24th July and Olympic Games in Eshase o Paris now report abetida ne so unim se Abeku Jackson naka swimming there naka dodo na ehwenem se kobetimi akogirem edi ma Ghana ni aba ne se Abeku Jackson ontumi nko Eshase Olympic Games unim se wadi kan akomienu dada na so the last one okoy no na Tokyo and otumi ekopiemo report eba ne se Abeku Jackson this time no nyadia obetimi akoni etosumiensa na mo sisi amene okase abrante for ne se Harry Stacy wado etimi qualifier ono ekwako jirem edi amaka na fe eye Alice Mensa omunyina etimi qualify eba swimming nyamu ya duma Olympic Games no se pass no ono ekwako jirem na onim se America tu no si de abrante bi se Joseph Paul Amwa ono se etimi qualify and afi Benjamin Azamatimo ono mo se etimi qualify America tu ono ekko jirem aboase de ya nyama ebetimi so aden akoka na yenti nsema abrante for ne se Harry Stacy ninsem awodi tu jam na Ghana ya qualify Olympic Games no omko jina Ghana anaimu.
You start swimming and you're just getting used to the sport. You don't really know what you're doing with it. You're just learning how to swim. But then after a while, you start competing and you start hearing the word Olympics and World Championships and stuff like this. And then it's like, oh, so there's this is the end goal, to get to that level. And yeah, to finally reach the pinnacle of swimming. I mean, it's surreal. It hasn't really sunk in yet. But yeah, I'm really happy about it.
Okay, Tina no ayensema no so timi akose amano ni tew na fia so na no pay e dey Copa America e dey 2 games e Pasima Brazil and Colombia game no end 1-1 at say abrante for Rafina ono na she go e dey Emma club for na na o ma for say Brazil and Colombia for no se e ba beti second nochi Costa Rica e she kamie no ma Paraguay so etimi eti kanamo bako na se no e Copa America games na homachi a no so etimi e bas na hosem na ye di atuja na onim se Euro 2020 2024 aso gusu ano so no ekoso na onim se no a ade a games bi so atimi koso na we aye games a ase atimi atuja oman ye fene se Romania omo atinafi ma Dutch Netherlands ehyo mo kamiensa onom antimi atenwachi oman aye fene se Austria ase tina ma Turkey ebo mo kamienu a atse omo se kano onom eti ekano ba kuntina atse we aye games e koso ewo Euro 2024 no so ekoso nyame aduma sei ena parents ewo quarter final hosem aso asitie Friday at the 5th July Germany omo ebetina Stuttgart na fe omo ni Spain enso dia shena so 4 p.m. ena sa match na ebetimi ade abaso enwechi omo efe na Portugal as ebetina Hamburg na fe omo ni France enso dia 7 p.m. ena na sebetimi abaso nyame aduma Saturday ana Netherlands Dutch for no omo betine fe na fe omo ni Turkey enso dia we say Berlin 7 p.m. ena na sebebasa na fe England for enso ni omo Switzerland enso ena airport ena sebetimi abaso over 4 p.m. Dusseldorf ho ena sa game no sebetimi enso abasintina ti se we kakra na so akoso awoye Euro 2024 ena sin akoso reporter abetu ya ne se Paris Saint-Germain boboko no consider say Abrante for Matthew Delate awosina kan Rima Bayern Manchester United in 24 omni na wi ane sa no nyete ane say Paris Saint-Germain so issue interest a omohwe no say Abrante no onom ebetimi asana no yensema epa say ne epa say Manchester United egusu ehwe say na Abrante for Harry Kane ana say Abrante for Harry Maguire na ka onom epesen ka omo eton Abrante nemum ne etete ne say wan hwa na enya di Abrante for say Harry Maguire na mpefo tonesa so muguso ehwe so mbetimi anya defenders awodo na afem abo one shot na Abrante for say Victor Lindelof one only player ebia na mpefo ebeton na fe Abrante for Harry Maguire na omo ajan awotu nemum say skapa na bu otutia ene Harry Maguire mpefo ebetimi ajan ne mu nti eno eyesema fi Manchester United womo aso ya no so etimi so aba betudwa mame nyina no so na no pay nimfa gude hu sem no face nyame aduma 12:30 enu nhia na fe power 97.9 FM yensan fa gude hu sem efa brem sabre de mejemu kwa min kai krado a ore Dwabo Ase eto so bitin edi rocha yimano from the sports monarchy botera era fe kujo fe sem teche na no pay me di jimere di by makram
roja me dance so de agudie mu sem abre ansa na bekono on bibini ye di mirika ya trekrata tintin se de Facebook asase a wo baba masika eti ya na manfo eni hihye no so miami ni aba haja Fatima to Abubakar but who statement no but you see hwebroni o what did the Facebook no buy no wonya hu sika bedroom pempen so bo say afide mi biem said ba ya amanfo mu create content no amanfo mu create content no obu so benya sika enya pesa mi nkum nya ho wa biem obi anso ni bi ba bibini de yanya hihye nto ho yemfa ya hoden ni yanim de ene yetumi entankofo bia omu wasa nimde ni biachi wa Ghana ha emomu so ntimi nya bibi saa bi said ba ya Ghana ba gidi na sika bi saa so etimetintim Ghana ha de anima na se broni di abanti yanyira ye ni echi yo ma feria maye and you have a government issuing a statement Charlie it's okay it's okay and obi release some message in fact statement na free information ministry and whatever to was me bomb pie say abai ne mbeka bibi say ye the Facebook monetization levy ba what dey ansomo ye te ye Ghana na edrum pempenso bi nimde akwa nanim e dey ehunu say dey betima ma ne sika e wo ye phone so afi ye te ya ye di hu da ye te what ye say ye de momo tuaba that's one yamfa momo tuama ye say ye de momo tuaba momo tuana be dey ade bia ye Ghana hi ade bia no ye begina se sika na ye boaboa no so e de di hu djuma bisame ye timi de di hu djuma ye timi de dealing with all those situations and here say ye di momo tuano be dealing with empire na mebo say yen kodum pempenso bi ye be kanje say ye the Facebook monetization levy eba I am just praying that yen do ho many da so de ma hoto so ne say aka 4 months ye kwoto aba so within this 4 months in the year mo de ba ye be di hu komo mo twimu tan so ye be kɔ de Kenya we ye kire ye be che ya dwen wo ye kire kwan so hwɛ baabi a yɛduru deɛ yɛ sika kakra deɛ yɛbɔ ho ban o ma obia mfa ne nsa mmɛka yɛ sika yɛ sika kakra na ɛda yɛbɔ yɛabɔ soɔ mu no yɛbɔ ho ban ma obia mfa ne nsa mmɛka mode sika bebrebe a yɛyɛ deɛ a mode mo nsa ka yɛ ɛdeɛ paa no moatumi de ayɛ na GRA 2020 Ghana Revenue Authority aba abɔnten ɛnisuade hu na mode baa yɛ no yɛtumi amiti aborɔ so ɛti sika bebrebe a yɛ mobilize by way of revenue no ɛwɔ yi ɛna kɔm de yɛ but let's talk education consult me nka nkyɛw sɛ nkwadaa no fɔm bra no mombɛgye nteteɛ papa fɔm bra na mombɛgye nteteɛ ɛbɛyɛ fapempa a ɛbɛma ɔmo nyini mu no nyina ɔmo baa bɛnyini no ɔmo bɛbaa bɛyɛ mpanimpa a ɔmo tiri abɔ bew mpanimfo a ɔmo nsɔano aduro ɛnyɛ mpanimfo a ɔmo to ɔhaw a na ɔmo baa bɛkasa afa ɔhaw no ho wabere ɔmo nkasa sɛ nsɔano aduro nie saa nteteɛ no ne yɛde ma nkwadaa no ɛwɔ Let's Talk Education Consult ɛnsa adagye nsa berɛ nkwadaa yi ɛbɛma kwan yi wobɛtumi take advantage of ɔmo vacation programs no now the Obana Kosa Sukumo Let's Talk Education Consult ma Madam Time Bomb ne dom emma mo manan tete papa bi ate de meka no hwemachi akwan sisi e omo Tashin Ngwa Estate Mango Street obetua from 0249 069 821 0249 069 821 Let's Talk Education Consult was a building the future through children. Yɛbɛbɔ yɛ tonton sansansɛm no dɔso yɛakyekyere ne nyinaa yɛbɛbie so sɛde bɛyɛ obiara bɛhunu nea ɛkɔ ɛwɔ yɛ ma mu ɛnkɔ baabi a ɛne me ntena meba
If I shop, I'm sure you'll bag it.
Brad, and not so good.
What time you should see about Queen Wayne and say?
Brad, said your time about Misha, as your Jimmy fearful, and not your back ever so.
Really, do this offering now.
Brad, and because me the time about Misha one dance ya, we are singing now ever Timinka. It is some malaria. What?
natural samaba na sawochi konkoya natural samaba.
Nobody should think that the Ghanaian is a very gentle, don't like trouble human being. It's not true, because I saw what happened 79 and 81, and they were Ghanaians, and some of the violence and the murderers and unrest in certain parts of this country, like what's going on in Boko and other places, they are all Ghanaians. And if we don't manage things well, and we have this mentality and thinking that any party can do whatever they want to do, and the Ghanaian will accept it, and the Ghanaian will live for it, you might be playing with fire. Make no mistake. Because when people are desperate and are hungry,
now this government nature say fire
they are near fire free. I say because for the past 7 to 8 years I implementing free SHS. Yeah. Yentina Sinka say program ya nasa jeye ye dia be ye bohudwa ye toatoa dwen na ya bo akire anasa ya ye nsakremu na de enya no ye frim ye ye no ne ye dia hyem good ewiase afa na nyina no e ba mamuo pa na se eye aban bi de nhyehyɛ ba eye omutai tenase evaluate sa nhyehyɛ no adwuma anasa botai na etai sa nhyehyɛ na chi no wo mo hwɛ se abemu anasa ememu. Good. In the case of free SHS, for the past 7 to 8 years, ni ayatitia ne political party awa abemu ne kasa anasa opposition. Said there be an NDC form pe free SHS, an NDC form pe free SHS. Wa wo pe free SHS wo siya se wona de buy enya no kura se wona de buy no. Wa wo siya se wona de buy no. Yeah. For the past 7 to 8 years, what tenase ehunu nia enye ewo nhyehyɛ ni mu dabi nia ebeboa nhyehyɛ no watena se etu one amount e dia behyem dabi sabra ye kasa kura ye kasa ye bobo problems currently awofo enkwada achechefo headmaster for sukuu ra no mo efesi by way of free SHS ebi ne dia
kwame ebi ni eyese abange as we speak now no ontimi provide dormitories infama eye school fu yi a wo banya baby a wo ko school no ma wo de won tibeto all because of free SHS
it wo baby o mbeda no mabo apeso number 1 number 2
ye nim se abang e di won a wo supply nuan e di student yi and as a school is all betimi aye nuan e de ma aye mofre no abandi won kanti nuan nkonti mofra no enye nuan eni
etiebe o ma aduane die mu a ohawo ho aduane die mu no enkwara na aduane o mbedi wo abra o mo nto aso suku e wo so munya adwen fan asomdue di suade no na yasa so de aduane die hawo abepi wo mo so beda no wasuade to aso
kwame de to so ebiesa enen esan se mofra na bo apiso na abanso no and provide infrastructure nintino mofra no dodo na me no Erica say no what it fam woni nkonwa a wobetena so woni desk e wo ho blog bi e na binumu atititi so ebi so asuade e wo the bare floor ho no mo wom titi fam
ene how ni bi aba na fe so awofo no de na ya omotai ka se ba se nkora no baby esuku a se ya omotai kwadom sika kakane no e bra na wotua ni suku fees no a na wotua e de time ne ba na ti e ma nko suku no se omo se abasoro adai
abasoro because enema bu akosoro this is because abanglan kasa ni hye no ama enema bu akosoro Ghana yensi di no enyina ne nanso enti niama anka wofo no wo betua school fees na anka wo be kogwa so akoto na bia na ne bu no wo fem no ene niama ne bu no akosoro enti ama awofo no even though abanse eye free SHS no ade na nya free sa ama obre no mom ene haw no abekwadopo so enka bia obetua school fees by 1 cedi obekogwa so akoto ade 50 pesos no ana abang no use niama no use school no free enti ofa ne bare mra yet obekọ market akoto niama bia be nya abofra no e wo school no niama no kanu na get 50 pesos and na ye 5 cedis
enti na ye kasa yi enam oha we ni atiti we e wo free SHS mu a chechefo so wo mu de ana no yo mu gina so kra de call strike ebi ni say school calendar no academic calendar no ye wunu so ye nse da ni brema cheche ni na obeti ba gina home you and then na green so adeɛ bɛkye na yellow aso adeɛ bɛkye na red aso eti adeɛ ne ayɛ prekese eti kyekye ni no sɛ wogyina ne naso anie wonya branch na home kyekye ni kuro ya na be nante class ahodoɔ na wakɔ kyerɛkyerɛ mmɔfra na deɛ ɛna afei so source materials wɔn mo de ba kyerɛ mmɔfra na deɛ no so ɛno so bi ne ɛbɛyɛ boakye bi di good so now wabra problem wei wɔ hɔ no expectation obi a badwin ba bia no the expectation is say aban a wa adwen pa no wo betu anamon no solve problem no mefa eso hwede aban we ye wakotena mrasa badwafie 4 months to elections and wa sase dan na di won fonyi ye efonyi twaso ene kasa bi so se enam se NDC from Pegana for yenti omo ba betinti mra se de be ya dachi bi aban foforo bi ba won betwa free SHS mo obi amaka edi ache Ghana fo nyina sa abato we mu wini no musuro edi na musuro so edi na musuro tobo me edi na musuro mo beka amena to Ghana fo nyina se ye pese ye tinti mra se da be ya ban foforo bi ba won besesem wa bra his excellency John Mahama woni NDC o maka dem predodo be nam se mabon enam se diabolics wo mutirim adwenboni wo mutirim nti dan nyina president Mahama ne NDC for ka na mo ho se te se de mo nteye but no kura ne se Mahama ne NDC mo aka se sa how ya e wo free SHS mu no eno na emma awofo ne nkwada enya so mfaso eti president Mahama se wo ba woni awofo abenfo animdefo ebetra se no matoato adwen na ya ye nsakramu good and you see John Mahama anye pesemi kumnya David in fact yenya nto aba no na wotwe aban na dwen si so se animanimu ya no anasa sa bre no wo monsi nkonya no montoato adwen na omunya nsakramu ewo sadia free SHS ni sitie good aban na ntie afi aka 4 months to elections and omude pa renfo adwuma biama ahwanyo market se won ko gina mrahye badwafie na won dan na dit sadia NDC for ye mamboyfo and omude mransusu ye bi aba and NDC for emrahye badwafo no embeso omu baba abeka ho ama yahwe na sa mra no abaye adwuma na yebusa se mra no so we ya wo se edam mampanya so ye can you imagine afi na obepia so awoso de aba mra se badwafie na ye di hujuma obi a wutu mrika okodio mrika ye press conference me sa press conference no wo ho a ubetimi di video na to so ne etie ya panyo ma kenkan me se mo da mo de mo hwehwe me se manka nche mo de mo hwehwe ma me na ye mfa ni adanse bi wo di mrika ba ye press conference say yede mraba emra nsusu yaba NDC mamboyefo no omo mpeso mo baba beka ye ho na ye hyesa mra yi meanwhile ye busa se mra nsusu ye we ya was a damampenya so ye can you imagine ye de wo ho de na re ho NDC MP susu adan na di se so emra wo ho se emra ni ho mo di asamo se shani ye mra ebe ma free SHS aye ya krado ye krado sa etuomu guso Clementa Park Dr. Clementa Park good honorable nochi kotoi mu nyina ebusa se mra no susu ye no we mo famra na yenya wo adwuma afanyo marking budi afogina ho wonya ho press conference bi o can you imagine wo mfa jeje mu bia maaye na you see jandam ntihwe hwe strategy no it is asamia uku kase omo strategy wa bra ye kwa abatoori ma you must know that agin bi omo bedan na dibia no because of 2 million more pe 2 minutes and yes omo pe free SHS bia ye 2 minutes no mo yasa 2 minutes yem find this into a 10 kruwam 2 minutes yem fa card tuntum en kan this for ho said the be amanfo benyo mo ho tan 2 minutes yem ma NDC for adwempa no enya adwempone e wo Ghana fo ani so I am telling you the truth so wonya abotre edi asem na ti na wankasa wo kokwam wo ye mpensempensemu a you will arrive at this conclusion good my arrival at eyenu a 2 minutes no mo yesa so watch na enre ya daily graphic what the buy so mo ne education minister di nkomo enkomo be ya se de o hwe SHS na ye de nsakramu ba no ti na ye de mra no eba na emra no ba de be hunu no se bi si ni ye nyanya bio enkwara no mo wo ye invitiation suku empanifo efa no ye JHS no se ye be ka wo mo ne senior high school afua na ma senior high school no se abeye mfiansia se de be ya akwara no we senior high school would say yes where you what ni trouble bill ne fish so and you be an fish so but you see Mamin Kai Mubibi, Kai, a bra President John Ajakum Kofuo. Yeah. War pay every 3 years, and the about 4 years. No. Yeah. What's the Merabi? Benzo Somo. Oh, way. No, maybe, sir. Free and now, Professor Day. Yeah. Our come home. Or come home. I do Merabi. Good. Nanado man appointment. Someone got in a GRE. Yeah. Professor Day. 2016. Where you campaign giddy. And momo. And now no one Evans Mensa. Didn't come out with joy news. Okay. What was our first question? Evans Mensa can say, Emre here. Was it Emra Bay? Nadia Nas Yedia Gray. Anna Omodem Rebano. Nasichan say, free SHS no Mudi kind of buy no. Nay illegal. What was that? So, Professor Stephen that day. A critical question. And yet, Nasa Chama man this year. Debbie, and yet, John Mahama, and yet, John Mahama. Professor Stephen that day. Yeah. And a bizarre that critical question. Say, Mudi Medica de Mra, bad year. And your free SHS now. Yet, most of them buy for the past 7 to 8 years. Nay, illegal now. Yo. Where we know the source say, Nedi are grown and we desire. And you're growing already. And then I'm more grow and more fra, and that's what's and then I'm with your memo, a dear grossa, I didn't. And me answer me the mama Professor Day, and you'll be a working in Sania simple. Some year who cook good. So 4 months, ya go to aba a strategy, You did be the mammo, you didn't say yari. By a strategy, strategy is say. Yang Sembi, Yang can Sembi, number to Ghana for trim, to say the year 2016. A book now, woman year campaign 2016. Some book now, no use and one will use it is about me, none in a mamma for a few. Now what Kotosre, now what Pacho, now what Diasa, none in a drum, not what the say to a man for Sayem, not in Sako to go for Como. Yeah, a good father and Yabi. Oh, Yabi. A good father, your president. Oh, your president. And your good father, Nana, the Baumia by. Oh, no, didn't buy. I think I have to say. I say. I'm a bonnet to say. I say. Or mine to say. I say. It's yet the same thing over here. The same thing. It is what the catch was say. Menya dream pebby, Menya kuma pebby, Menya kuma daniebi. It made the Mirabi Baba Bata. Free SHS no. Said the Bayer betting Tima. Who don't say Yagrim Pebu, a nada. Said your Mahama, Etimikaya, Wabra, na yen to aba, Esusu Wutre, a year president Kufuado, said Brasso so be review free SHS. That means that Owadrimpa, and he didn't do this because Opetubi Debbie. He did this because when your complaints are hot war, on one casa did any share, on one casa did any good, on one casa tinka, Saw for bread, a church for bread, a share for bread, was Sabrea Yadi free as a Saba. It did not buy by. I was saying, yes, a child would not experience good or what memory, a catch a buying. Say. Tenase, friend him the four, sir, Boga, sir, Tesadia me ye brana ye sika sama toba. Good, me Boga, Efra Mumpo MPP, Samoma Kayo, good, Emye Senti, Bobo and Samo, Emye Krata Tintimia, and the QMF, good, and some for Swana Mudi 2017-2018. What did you make? Good. It is experience, no. And what did to a Kufuado for? Benham said Kufuado Nim chain or Pio Wariase. And I said Kufuado did say to me now or one and Suche will be as I say one in a Yasi Krana was for say, well, sorry, went yet President Mahama. And I'm so Baumia didn't say Yakasamato, Nabra also say, and we are saying Yasa in a security or meant President Mahama. Any bedroom baby, any doing Bebezui. Or be a Muslim Baba, we need elections. What is your fear? And then I'm sure Tiaf and your market.
Will present the free SHS bill to Parliament. You know, the Chapter 5 of the Constitution provides some aspirational indicatives. Those are not justiciable. But once, by policy of government, an aspiration, as envisaged by the Constitution, is put into action, then to make it justiciable, you enact. In other words, there are provisions in the Constitution that you cannot enforce. You cannot claim rights to those provisions. The fact that they are there does not mean that you can apply to the court to enforce those rights. They are
erisi nanse am no baumia menim honhon krokro no beto na koma pro so ena honhon krokro no faaro so ka se enye mmra na yehia baumia na apanyo maki nani abre a wo ye pawrenfo adwuma ama no no wo bo apro wo kan bedwam se enye mmra bi na yehia ye na wo se ye free SHS ni ye
good
and sasem no na John Mahama aka from day one owa bemu tie in 2015 wabro masisi suku dan ahodo awie omo implementing said ye mra pon naka say ye befa boase tokwan so good and the free education aba ama ye man want to aso suku mu e wo ye mra pon ni mu
ewom 1992
it is in the 1992 constitution
good
President Mahama gina so edi mra no so e implementing ade a ye friend progressively free SHS eti e kan bi no woje ye wabra na wode boase tokwa so efa ahye no mayie said the by the time obeka so woje kan nyina aso no na ohaw bi a wo hobia no ede wetima di hudwuma na fofia nto ata and President Akufo-Addo yibaye because that 2008 what the Ghana to Malaysia ne Korea ne Hong Kong ba aka say they have wiped out the literacy in Korea they've wiped out the literacy in Malaysia we will wipe out the literacy in Ghana hence our bringing to force the free SHS no child shall be left out wabra na ni wure fi say woka say no child shall be left out what the akadia mano wasiesie eye bia kronkron na wo se wo de ne kono yesu mpo a wo kasa fa osoro ahemam no wabra wo kasa asem wo se meko akosiesie de ayi
akosiesie baby papa
meko ye de ayi
because siesie baby papa
bi ansa na wo de nipa beko ahotom no e wo se bia yo na wo de ne ko a eye ahoto bia no e wo se wo ye de wo siesie ho and this is Jesus na wo Akufo-Addo na wo Akufo-Addo we adaya me so mo mani nyina akọ ayi free SHS
to France obi anko keke
so mo benya baabi ada so mo benya aduane me fa de hia ne so mo ko
obi anko keke
edu baabi no mo argument ne se na o mo tere fia na ye anya bia so mo ntifie anya bia o mo ntifie
nipa ne beko a onya baabi papa bi ntina onya chirichere ni nchire na de ye
ya pa peso wa
classroom
achechefo nya bre enche nkora na de
enu na ye
hwɛ education curriculum na say education calendar na say academic calendar na ye hunu da ye makwan ye hunu da ye bie school aye prekese
imagine so baba ko school busumi baako na de busumi abiesa 3 months abetina fie
hwɛ no ma motoma mo ma all because aduane omudi wo school nye hwɛ sika ya mokosoa hwɛ bo amobɔka ɛwɔ mo ma no ho eduru baabi mpa asukufo mpanifo no sresre se momfa we mira mesre mo wabra mo de ba ma mo moso nchiro bia wo san so suro
because wonim no okoka pe o kirekire ni no aban no bayi na di because ye wo bi wo ho mfato wo ho ebisi e wo la haya la presby senior high school headmistress o wo ho okoka se niam mo frɛ mu hia mu fa mra no mu kan kire mo awofo no aban ni se yen ayi wadi yenim dia tu mami e wo was ne nyina ayade a esi nso abangu so di niam free aba free SHS aba nso ye no ka se no student parent eguso awobre
Professor Stephen Adai no anwumre wo PMS press was say what they've done for the past several years has not been illegal. It's been by government policy and it's acceptable. Niamaya for the past 7 to 8 years. Entiamra yamra poni mu. Mo eti wo ko famra dia bebata ho sa ayeden. Ya wo mra be your friend pre-tertiary act. Wo kenkanya said your free SHS city ewom pepe Akufo-Addo ba ye wo de mra bi koto mra se bedwafie mra nsusu ye bi koto mra se bedwafie no so boama free SHS ni tintim eti die bio
na mo ya dem bio na mo
wo timi so awade a wo se wo kachire na ye de yi
so ho
ade no eja no yakobubu yakwa afuom yabubu ja e de ama obia yima so ne de pa kwasi so ne de rafo so ne de
good
afedu kwame minka so a wo se ade de wo timi so eja wo se kachire na ye de yi
enya hwe
kachire na ye de
enya hwe mfuzu bi eni ho eye ade bi keke se de odi kaka no kwame wo pese wo ye niam bi keke ne dia da se won na wori ye bribi ena obi ena prefer SHS
that's right
eye saa do wɔpɛ sɛ wɔyɛ
ɛti Ghana for yɛ dwuma a yɛba ha yɛbɛyɛ de sɛ ɛna yɛbie nsɛm no so akyerɛ mo
good
nokura ni nie nokura foforo bia ni baabi a sɛ wogye yɛ kyini a mesrɛ wada wode wankasa kɔ YouTube kɔ abɛfo tintafidie so na nekɔ kan daily graphic ɛno adeɛ no na wode nsɛm no nyinaa kekɛsi ani na wankasa wote wakaakaa wo ho ɛnoɔma bi a asisi afa yɛ education no ho wɔ Ghana ha and you arrive at the same conclusion
ɛhɛ yɛ ano baabɛ
ɔmo anom papa nom ne ɔmo nananom wabena nkroma de free education baayɛ wɔmo baayɛ wɔmo bɛtwa mu tonkroma books gu yɛ
wɔtutu ne nyinaa kyene
tonkroma ani so ade hunu nyinaa yɛ dɛn egu yɛ ɛbra yɛ tintim saa mmerɛ yɛ wɔ 1992 yɛ mmra pɔn mu sɛ yɛ boase tɔkwa so ɛde free education bɛba ɛwɔ ntoaso so gu nim no ɛbra ne yɛ tintim saa mmerɛ no ɔmo amɛtena hɔ bi no mo nka ho bi in fact ɔmo yi ɔmo ho fi mu ɛka so ɔmo ne adwadifoɔ ne adrabafoɔ mbɛtena se ɛmbɛhyɛ mmara na ɔmo sa so ne wɔmɔ so ɛba free education ɛba yɛ yadesua ho nsɛm sɛ yɛyɛ ne free a they have no clue they have no idea they have no aspirations ɛti mɛntena ma ɛdu tum naadaw mentra ma Dr. Mahmoud Baumia ndadao mentra ma apanyo ma ke ndadao good na wo apanyo ma ke bekam yentia emra na wo ho no aspirational emra na wo ho no dayeso dayeso no wetima gina so etimi dia implement 3 SHS for the past 7 to 8 years it nature say for the past 7 to 8 years no dayeso mu nana ne yema no wo
nyina ye wo keke
mo de yema ne idi agro keke dayeso mu enana ne yema no wo na your man they were enjoying your aspirations. Hey, mamu ndi Ghana for attempts. So ho. Mususu for ya adwene nya dai. Eni agro. Eti wo fo bi a wotie me. O how a wo fam. Ba free SHS na woni tua no. Hwe memo mu na adaw. Say ɛna NDC foɔ wɔn ni anisuade hunu bia NDC foɔ mpɛ Ghana yie wɔn bɔ ba bɛtwa free SHS fo ɛno na Professor Nana Jeno Poko adwuma n'aka no mesa mama mesa video no si ebenya na afɛ yɛ kɔ anim mama mesa video no Professor Nana Jeno Poko adwuma wato challenge ama wɔn ɛde ama MPP foɔ good apɛnyɔ marking Dr. Baumia ne ho nkorɔ no ba no wato challenge ama wɔn wa dansidie ɛkyerɛ sɛ Mahama anasa wono Professor Nana Jane ana NDC ni bia koka o baabi se free SHS mo bo mu betwam no fa bekyere
ti se ne munni na mama suma ebinu mo amuso mo ye gospel musicians a wo mo bobo jandam no wo nyina so wo ye gospel artist wo ye dengo
na wo sa nyina so no forget
ai wo nyina so bia fa bekyere wo nyina so bi se wo ho a bra bekyere
ena no pe ye betena ye kasa nya ne ye di adanse di ekira
adanse di no ani
adanse eti adanse di ba ko ne prof ne tie
ɛyɛ free SHS yɛn ne yɛde baayɛ na nyame nkyɛ deɛ yɛfrɛ no progressively free ada ne yɛfrɛ de saa yɛfrɛ no saa kyerɛ sɛ sɛbe fisi tua deɛ ɛyɛ obi aya ɛna ɛyɛ nokorɛ ɛyɛ adeɛ da wɔ nanso obi wɔ hɔ a ɔyere no ho obɛtumi atua ama no ba obi nso so nya nkɔ no nso obɛtumi ankɔ no so ɔpɛ sɛ otua ma ne ba nanso so ntumi enti saa nipa na kyɛ sɛ ne ba no mo nkɔ sukuu ne bia naa enti enu eba sebe mesra meka ye ni bi no ye moa ye enti na ye ne anhwe fees pe ne ye hwe mpaboa ye hwe school bag ye hwe school books enti want da say ye ho na nkoda timi kogu school 4-5 years o many books ya nya ne sada ye progressively free ade ba we bia panti enka na ye na bibia da form boko sa na mambo na sesa ye no na bibia da form boko enti enne obi sorry na o se o NDC for say wọ́n mú mpẹ́ free SHS wọ́n nípa kúnnú onim dia ọkọ.
Onim dia ọkọ kíkà.
Asọ́mọ̀ ọkàn náà ti àṣẹ.
Wọ́n ti àṣẹ mọ́.
Lọ́wọ́ kàṣẹ́ o Mahama sí ọba ọbẹ̀twa free SHS. Ẹ̀nà ni wọ́n bọ̀ wá kúrò ayé tí mi rẹ̀kọ̀dù owó ẹ̀nu gyina yẹ. Asọ́mọ̀ mi kẹ́ nyina ọ̀họ́ anamboa.
Sábẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀.
Obiara ọ̀sọ́ owó bìbí ẹ̀kyerẹ́ sẹ́ yẹ́wura John Dramani Mahama kò gyina bẹ̀ẹ̀bi ẹ̀ka sẹ́ free SHS ló bẹ̀ twẹ́ mu ní ọ̀nfàmúra ni ẹ̀hwẹ́. Wọ́n ti mi ẹ̀fà bẹ́ẹ̀ mọ́ obi àǹgyini.
When Timmy and Fama more be engineering, a simple theatre, simple. Would you winning in a swabia, ye quack to a be winning in a swabia, for way in a swab. Titia. Say, what pay between MPP and NDC, one with a ditro. Eti, ye came within this 4 months ya akaya ye kwa kwato aba MPP for betimi dia dance dia betre se mahama akoka wo baabi se wo ba wo betwa free SHS mo so mo ntimi amfa ma gina so foto aba fetia wo mo fi se yempe atrofo wa ba mu yempe atrofo wa ba mu
yempe nkrofo won ka no kware yempe won yempe san nkrofo kunu
ye ka se wo United States of America na no debate ye course we woni m komo ye course wo Democrats intemo wo say eh yamam panyin no wanyini dodo said na adwin city na asa ye hatata wo betime di man yi anim wo bra ye kwa yenim abayi debate kase you so adwin a ye de bu man no eyade ye hia de good e de ma oman bi tisa America good o muka bi mami ka bi amamu adu ba bi adu no na Ghana ye sori a ye de hototo o mo adwin a ye de bu man adwin ni gina ye adwin na ye nkwada adwin yo ana adwin a yedi ye adwuma ye
asembisa no ne
sa adwin no na America fo bobo hu wo obo ye debate on the state of mind of their president so based on nano enkomotwetwe omo di ye wo abro no mo ye debate good when ti man die na di say wotimi gira ne na so dwen eti Democrats ni bimpo asase e kasa say Joe Biden tenanchen na ye po bi foforo
so woman po won afiase eri dwendwen sa de ne ho na temi se ya ye de ye ho atututu won e betimi de ye ho ato wo ma na
eti na adwen ba ne de bu ye man
enu ne asembisa
ene John Jinapo ba bonten abeka che se sa asam na eye Amina Ntam ene na ma woka se de ya ye nkasiesie bi ewo ye nyinam kane afa ama se ka bi eda ho no yetime pia kwa nanim eti adeso bi anke wo se yeso asa abre no eni ho bio ye ho be hare ye owura John Jinapo eye member of parliament ma ya pekusegu wo de sa no kura na abetodwa eche bia ye bebo achemo na de Amina Adam so kan no so ye bebo bo achemo bransa na no sikasem nti proxac say na omunya nkwa adwuma
wo mu kwa adwuma
sikasem ntoto ye nti ane amamu no se de si adan ye butu nti womo de abufu aka se womo de omadwuma to for video no to so na yenti omo nsem no
for our letter number BA 15 volume 2 dated 21st June 2024 indicating our intention to proceed on nationwide strike if the new salary structure for the staff of the civil service and local government service is not implemented. We hereby declare a nationwide strike with effect from Wednesday, 3rd July 2024. All staff of the civil service and the local government service should stay away from work until further notice. Similarly, all cluster secretariat offices are closed. Can you take note and comply?
Clock sack don't know. Enkoye. Wo mu hia bibi. Yeah. Now no set tag. He said clock sack abeka. More to come. Yeah. In the coming days, months, more to come. Mete say now no na you tag nso kasa. You tag University of Ghana. Professor Ransford Jampo. Mete say na wo kai mampanyi ne aban mu mpanifo say mo wade bia wo say mo yema ye munya nyeye. Mete say no wo kai omo. Yo. It is aban na anya na you tag nso beka ho a. Na ye kwa no no.
Na se ye kwa anen. Already no ye nim say napco phone so etwemo.
Meanwhile, mampanya bedi echie na wono e wo se wo hwe sikasem yie tutu no ma yie no wo jai se adwuma na to ene wonam ene o se ade na wo sai no no se e ma ne tumi na wo beji sitie na wo be ye ni yie
ade crowd da
no dwen ho think about it masai no eti wode sitie ne mamia ene ade na me di animu a masai no me ba be ye ni yie eti we nipa wodwin sei no we nipa papa
onye nipa papa we na adafo
nipa wodwin sei nipa wokasa sei we obi a owadwin pa ma
oni adwin pa
mebusa
Debi oni adwin pa
question ba omi wa ha mebusa no yeah me case na nima busa no
minim
se wan kasa wo be sei o man Ghana sikasem
de di kan
aba se adwumayefo obre de adwumayefo te so
e de sa
wana wudi animu fi se mampanyim ye te ase se wona wo ba behwe ye sikasem so
yeah
and won hwehwe mu no wona head of economic management team
yeah
ebeda wo team na dika se solid team to the sense say na no na se sidi ni nya hoɔden bi no wode betu answer for hene se no matima ache dollar na tum ama waje key no e de ama IGP so ama IGP kwama ne dollar no se America watuoro obi entimi nche no so what the ade we anim asɛ na wie na wabegyina manim kwa me minka anim wabegyina Ghana dehyiefo nyina wo anim sɛ adeɛ na me sɛ no na me ye mate enti sɛ sɛ wodi sitia ne mamia adeɛ na me sɛ no me ba be ye ni wonye timodinfo na ayɛ deɛ
woyɛ nadafo woyɛ timodinfo
wonye wudini na
woyɛ obi a wobɛtumi akum nipa wakum nipa mpo awie ade no wasɛ ne deda wo because who buy na dollar in that nam 3 cedis 80 pesos and then in over 16 cedis who say answer for city amount then no riba beye what say no di dawo
etiana hwe how eda ho say ye to anyinam kane abuo mu
ya yanga tu
e ka na eda ho no enna isa se omo bedi no kure aka che se ka da ho na Ghana fo mo ma ye bra ne empa kwan bi so a ye betima di hujuma no wodi mirika amina dam edi mirika abeka che Ghana fo say oh ya ye nkasi ensie bi epia ka no kɔ nanim ama se ade so na eda ye so no afiri ye so ade anche ono abo jonjina podi mirika o se Ghana fo asem na minister na beka no wo fada asem hia o se ye mu na abekɔ no good fi se no kura ni nie tie we
of negotiations after several
John Jinapo Azania ba mi na ndam yentie no John Jinapo ni wo okay for me na ndam to so e
power purchase agreement terms with the following companies: Amandi, Sen Power, Eli Power, Senate, and AXA. We are finalizing documentation to sign this agreement this week and the next. The Amandi, Sen Power, and Eli Power documentation will require parliamentary approval, and the government negotiation team is pursuing an aggressive timeline aimed at securing various regulatory, ministerial, and other approvals prior to presentation of the amended documentation to Parliament for approval before Parliament rises at the end of July 2024. Work on closing out and executing the Sunong Asogli restructuring package and documentation is also in progress. ECG and GNPC have agreed all commercial terms under a master gas supply arrangements, with final technical details being considered, under which GNPC will sell to ECG fuel in bulk for onward supply to the IPPs. The threats of shutting down power plants will be a thing of the past.
Okay. So was in Treha independent power producers ebo say ye bedundum ye mfidie na ye nyanyinam kanea no abana wiye adeya e Canada ho no ye ne o media no am ye pia kwananim ati ade so bia ni yeso what you say
Aminadam
e one former deputy power minister okay our ye member of parliament e ma de che wo ya pekusegu John Jinapo good wom na se bedwafie wo se Ghana nsentwe for momra mo so mo camera no na mo fanto me so no kure na wo ho na wo se ye catch minister no eni.
Just yesterday the Minister of Finance informed Ghanaians that he had restructured some $1 billion of IPP liabilities. Our checks indicate that that is completely false. I've spoken to almost all the IPPs. On the contrary, government has failed to meet its side of the bargain by making some bulk payments that will trigger these agreements. That is to say, there are some condition precedent that government ought to fulfill, but this government has failed to fulfill that. So, unfortunately, once again, this so-called restructuring of IPP debt is nothing but a charade. In 2020, government borrowed 3 billion of Eurobond and promises that they will use $1 billion to restructure IPP liabilities. As soon as government got the money, they misused and misapplied that money. Our latest check indicates that that money cannot be accounted for. Anytime the MPP tells you they are restructuring or renegotiating any energy sector contract, it ends up being bloated, it ends up causing serious liability.
Anya bia yenim Mary.
Oh yenim.
Eti maybe your MPP beka say oh contract bi eka bi eda ho ye kodi ano no kai say e your how adeso akase na eda eba and so what honorable John Jinapo was it 2020
yeah
omunya 3 billion euro bond e she Ghana for boss ye de mu 1 billion ebe kwa kodi enyinam kane ahoden ne ka ho dwuma say ye beye say ye besi ne sika no baby afa yenim yantimi akotua saa aka no ama saa aka no da so da ho na nanse ya de ya mi na ndam ekan wo say no kure no wonim because onzo ne IPPs na di nkomo ene say wabra na omudi ano no wabra na omudi ekana no no na nuoma bi a yamfiafia ho bi wo ho a na wo say aban no eye aban na ntu saa na mo no yo eti IPPs ni say enkomo no enwie peye eti nkomo enwie peye no eye dan na minister no betimi bedina simpie so na wone ensentwefo kasa se di agbe na how na free so ka na free so ya kwa yanim no obia ni obetima baba boy entre ha si e bedundum yemfidie se kwabi no kwareka no asem ni o no kwareka no na abowon so say the odi kakai no uhwe humesua uba education uba finance uko energy sector na no kware no one person obeka kire nti yem paint some picture bi enkire Ghana fo ne enka se ade na ye bibia ye but enye no kware ezade no mo ya de ohopa na say ya with the same United Kingdom London when who say Godfrey Dami Dimirika eko gina zimpie so eka say japa nensem na walk ka for no no atonsuom wa bra judge enyate so te say wo ka asem no ka ye was a video na ke botre mo ba wo di mebo japa video na ansa na fe later se enya ne yabo wo ko gina United Kingdom wa bra ye guso a ye di asem o ka kwa min ka ne koye we ya ki abechi me de ba this time ya chi me de bi atwa me damages say ne damages mintimi ntua ne ye de makoto afiase so eso eho attorney general minister for justice a ho aba asem a yeguso a ye di asem no wodi mrika ko London ekogina abonten gina simpie so e ka say adansidie na wuguso a wototo japa no a wode ma no ensisi so eti we atten say nasem na atonsuom can you imagine wabra nya wo na wo ba wo akwanya no say obeyi atten so wabra nya wo na wo di asem no wo di ane say wo di asem aba aseni bia de wo di asem no won kasa mfa ho won fa na temu maaye ezasem we asi Ghana Bar Association mo hunu nka won ayedin mo lawyer panyin no ena edi sansem ru wei wo mo mra ni madwuma no sa de we ye ma ne ye yo e ka mo hyehyɛ no ho asembisa no code of ethics no say na tie asembisa no ne nyame ncha de nra japa sa no ma na wo keka no na mfa no ho good ogira adaka mu ye toto na no ya na nyame ncha de nso nra so judge no bie mu say Ghana fo nyina ye betima nya akonya ne ya dai ahwe bi de course ni hwade we
kind of thing it's not nice. Ladies and gentlemen, you don't do that. Then read it.
Reference is made to the agreement signed on 19 December 2012 between Big C General Trading LLC and the Government Republic of Ghana, represented by the Ministry of Health, for the supply of 200 Mercedes-Benz ambulances and related services. As per the agreement, which is valued at 15,800,000 Ghana, 800,000 Ghana cedis. So they wanted to say 200 ambulances, well-equipped ambulances, are to be supplied to the Ministry of Health. For the avoidance of that, the terms of delivery per the agreement as follows. The first consignment of 25 ambulances shall be delivered by the supplier within 120 days after signing of the agreement. The remaining 175 vehicles shall be delivered in batches of minimum of 25 every 30 days after the first delivery. It is obvious that the first consignment of 10 vehicles was delivered in December 2014. They did not meet ambulance specification and were not fit for the purpose. There were strictly speaking, ordinary vans that we were trying to convert into ambulances. A post-delivery inspection carried out in January 2015 by the Operations Department of our National Ambulance Service revealed that there was no medical equipment in the vehicles, thereby reducing them to ordinary vans rather than ambulances. Upon receipt of our inspection report, you invited 3 officers of health to visit your productive facility in Dubai to discuss the report and other related issues with your engineers. Our technical team was fully prepared for the trip, but it appears that you are derailing the process by consistently postponing the date for the visit.
Eti dia na na ekoso anajapa egusu eyi nkrata na otono boss echirechi nsemu nyina question na say adwimpo bia na attorney general no epese wo de to court nanim say asama owura ajapa eka say ambulances no ebedru oman Ghana in 2015 no attorney general pese dan na di say enye no kore eti attorney general de krata bi honorable Segbefia ena dweye ejina so eye no exhibit eyi ka say sa letter we di adanse said the make no sa nete ben so owura japa insist say die Segbefia tweye no na yemfom so wasaso gina adansidi so edan na di nienti a no wo ka say yemfom so eti sa hwe anototo anamontu ana attorney general na wo peso opushia ma Richard Japa egitum say ambulance ya ye ka ho asemi ambedru 2015 nemo ebayansana 2015 eba na de ekoso enra eno no eti eno so yenkoso ani anwenwen ho ai si e de eche bebo a ba Japa so akse stamina bi pa ye ka we ye de wura ha non so yi ni document non so de akyere attorney general yi document non so yi document non so de akyere ba wura ebra asem ye de ba na wie ye nra no owura Japa nya bre ene sentwefo edi nkomo menim si ye wo sa clip na si eni dia na straight away yentie Samijan video ono so kai right after court. Okay, Japan.
Yes, performance of your cross-examination, how will you rate it? In fact, well, if it is a scale, if you give me a scale, maybe just a scale from scale of 1 to 10. 1 to 10. I'll give the Attorney General 3. 3. Yeah, 3 out of 10. 3 out of 10. Wow. That will be 3. No. I'll give him 3 out of 10.
But in all this, well, today was another day of shame for our country. It was another day of national embarrassment because our Attorney General and Principal Legal Advisor to the government came to court to once again display sheer ignorance, embarrassing the nation, making a mockery of himself, and wasting the time of everybody. And I stand here feeling very sad and ashamed as a Ghanaian that this is the level of thinking, knowledge of the Attorney General. Clearly, this is a man who does not understand his own case. And you've seen how Japa has schooled him today on his own case. You know, to start with, the Attorney General suggested that Big C could not supply genuine ambulances because they had overpaid themselves. They and Japa had overpaid themselves in fees. But Japa educated the AG that this is an agreement which went through the Health Committee of Parliament, the Finance Committee of Parliament, the Cabinet, went to the PPA for approval. And in fact, if you look at Exhibit X, which is the legal opinion authored by the Attorney General on this whole matter, the Attorney General was categorical that all the necessary statutory approvals which are conditioned precedents for the agreement had been met. And so clearly, the Attorney General cannot be making that argument. Again, today I even learned for the first time that this whole talk about ambulances not being fit for purpose and all that is fully contrived, because in actual fact, the ambulances we were supplied with as a country by Big C were better in quality, in size, in form, in everything than what we had actually contracted for and paid for. We contracted for Mercedes-Benz vans with specification 309. As a result of government's delay in establishing the letters of credit owing to the financial difficulties we had at the time on our hands as a government, the contracted ambulance 309 left the markets, and Big C had to give us a higher spec ambulance. Attorney General could not rebut that. So these people knew that we got a higher spec ambulance 311, far better than what we paid for, far more expensive. And yet they've been running rampage all over the place, lying that ambulances were supplied which were not, up to specification when we had ambulances supplied above the specification. He spoke about, Dami spoke about the contract lapsing and all that. Again, Jackman referred him to the Attorney General's legal opinion, which is very relevant because you see, it shows that everything Honorable Atofos, Honorable Setekpe, everything they did in relation to the letters of credit which were established were not decisions they took on their own. They were bound by the legal opinion of the Attorney General, which is binding.
I don't know to say everybody can kind of. Now Attorney General Godfrey Dame make ye woman CCA, ye Attorney General ya need to CCA. Now the oya ne say wo pe bibia, wo beti we di are jakpa. Ama jakpa ka bibi say oh, ambulance do kra na nya papa. Ye kra ye big C me company sika na was ye di tria ye ho ka no. Ye tia ma ne broso. Etu wade tu nanim na jakpa so yi atre no enya no kre. Wade we so tu nanim no asa yi atre no enya no kre. What the way to nanim no yet no and this is the same Attorney General. Wokojina wabra wonyanye cross examination ye no premature ejaculation. Wa pray no come back me. Wa pray no am adayo. What did you make an say? Wokojina United Kingdom wabra nyanye cross examination ye yo. To say the enra wokogu ni wani masi ana sami jemfi ebo echire di atre ye. Abunyina nso manitua mohwe bi wo zoom soe what dey make no because odi kaka say na ade we emra mbata akire na jakpa yi akire no emra mbata akire adwenkyire ni nie adwenkyire free wan kasa waso ye ho no Attorney General back there no enie na me bia wo de na akire no so United Kingdom na Godfrey Dame ko gina ye yenye cross examination wie ye no wo say mohwe jakpa say de wo si yi nsema no o masem na tonsuom hwade we where the dance and me say if he is fit to occupy position now, we occupy Sabria. The
MPP government, with all the foresight and vision that it had, led by Nana Akufo-Addo as Attorney General in 2001, commenced the construction of what we call the Law House, a new office accommodation for those Attorney General. Attorney General, after Nana Akufo-Addo contributed, Papa Wilson came to contribute. Right after NDC assumed office in 2009, the project, as we can all imagine, was abandoned. We came back again, my boss, former boss, Gloria Akufo, also contributed and all that. By the time I assumed office at Attorney General, the building was 36% complete. Today, the building has been completed and commissioned last week. A building that was started by Akufo-Addo in 2001. It took the same Akufo-Addo again to come and complete it. So I'm saying that we should resist all the lies, deception, and deceit of the NDC. And indeed, that's their stock in trade. And I personally, I can attest to that. We've been around, we're in Ghana, and of course we've been in UK. My brother who lives in London called me anxiously last time he entered a barber shop. He said, talking about the Attorney General. They didn't know that the Attorney General's brother was next in line for his head to be cut. And all that. So what's happening? This young gentleman that they admire and all that. But again, the lies, deception, and the deceit of the NDC was at work. And within a matter of 2 days, when we started our cross-examination of the person who was spreading all those lies, you see how the matter is going. Their case has come, as the president will say, case now turns to. So indeed, we should resist the deception, lies, and NDC. They'll come with all.
Okay, it's your cromfo. Where we are the NRU. Now we'll be cromfo. Saturday, I dream be free no so na ko bi foforo so ni akwachi obi a we innocent ni abuna kum no kwa o we wudi sem yenye cross examination wie yo na o ko to president case na tonsuom well enu aye hu asa ne yedi tonton sansan beto no te sa de ye ne wukura da biara no ye gibre nyabre the microphone no de ma ademdifo momo so chiro madwen woni a eto ye wo my Ghana we sima be num tew kasa yeti
yankupon shabra kwame ohwa ye fe white ya we say kire so wakoma mu ye fita obi anakoma mu ye fita so no se white fata no enya akoma mu fita na eni ono amu se white be gina mna se be dwuma no aka rongo kire ye no onyame nka mo ho hwe bla kwame papa ye okasa ye so okakasa wa bruchiri mebua
wan kan Ghana
enya bruchiri no okasa an na onyame sa na obeye na ade
abroche fo so sika no mo
oh mi si onyame yi usu ahatan a one nam a
na wo srɛsrade onyame so wayi ne nsafiri so a ne nama na wo srɛsrade ɛyɛ saa ɔho de ɛkɔ so no nyinaa no ɛyɛ tirimupa a wɔn bɔ no 2016 si yɛbɛgye akwanya no a yɛbɛkye NDC nipa bi atom ɛyɛ ɔmo kaeɛ sɛ ɔmo awia wɔ man no nti yɛbɛkye obi atom nti sɛ obi a yɛbɛkye no ne ho ni fi kora yɛbɛ frustrate na ama yɛde na kɔto afiase ɛno na ɔmo yɛ no nti wɔyɛ nwanwa magana ni bia NDC vu no
it's 4 months to election
me say nwanwa ɔmo pɛsɛ na na do hyɛ bɔ 2016 sɛ mɛkye NDC fo bi atom
it is a campaign promise ni
ɛno nie
wodi so
ɛno nie
bɛnkaeɛ na ɛyɛ sikasɛm na ɛfa yɛ ho no
na ɔno ɔdwen ho
okay
papa yɛ ɔno nipa nwen ho a wonhu ana ɔno ɔndwen ho sɛ woyɛ timamuni na na dodo yɛ den obi ɔno gyina campaign platform so aka kyerɛ so oni yɔkɔ galeda ɔdwen wo shumika ni ho wɔdwen wa wotɔn brodo ho wɔdwen wa wotɔn bofroto ho wa wopia yɔkɔ sɛla ɔdwen ho ɛna anyo sɛ yɛn saa nkɔfoɔ no yɛn yɛduane ne yɔkɔ gale papa ɔma ni baabi akɔ no mamu mia ntena senka sɛ asɔfofoɔ wɔ mu ɔmo nkasa sɛbi ahemfofoɔ wɔ mu ɔmo nkasa nsɛntwerɛfoɔ nkwa na mobɛnya manya asɛm o ɛgye trɛw ɛnsɛm firi baabi a memeti o ɛbɛsie firi baabi a momo wɔ ɛfiri sɛ mo na mo sika matotɔ petro ne kasa akɛseɛ agu mu fie
ɛbufoɔ wɔ mu
aba hwɛ bla kwame deɛ amammuo wei a ɛkɔ no mesrɛ timamufoɔ mesrɛ damdifoɔ wɔ ma wɔ mu bla kwame bla kwame anyɛ sɛ meyɛ yɛ ada mesu baabi ɔma ne kɔ no bla kwame sɛ woyɛ yɛgɔ sɛla na wokɔ fam hɔ a anaa yɛ sumika ne nadeɛ kye ama makɔ sukuu a ka wobɛhu sɛ yes ɔma no ayɛ wɔ mu no amanfoɔ blɛ ansa na ɔmo nsa kɔ ɔma no
titi sabre yɛbɛtoto no ɔma bɔ mu ezuo ka
ɛnyina yɛ 5 cedi ɛnɛ mu sika nka metɔ brɔdeɛ ba ha next week mede bɛba abɛkyerɛ wo na sɛ wowɔ nkwalaa 9 wowɔ nkwalaa 2 na woyɛ single person po a busa ho sɛ sɛn na wobɛdi mesrɛ Ghanafoɔ baabi ɔma no adu no ɛyɛ yɛ nyinaa yɛ dea ɛwɔ sɛ obi kɔ na ebi bɛyɛ ne yie ɛfiri sɛ ɔma no atɔ nsuo mu sɛ meyɛ wo dwale a yɛwɔ de odi first wodi first a wabɔ so bɔdeɛ na ɛso sen de wobɛdi second mesrɛ first ne nyinaa akɔyɛ John Mahama penny only that person a ɔyɛ wɔ no ɔma wei mu a obɛtumi aboa me ne wo mmienu a yɛte fam ɛnɛ adamdifoɔ yɛayɛ mmɔbɔ to the extent sɛ yɛnya akatua yɛnya aduane nni yɛnya nsuo mpo ɛnom yɛde si no a meekɔ no akyemfoɔ yɛmmɔbɔ a yɛayɛ nyinaa sɛ ɛnɛ black ame ntontom we yɛn the whole eastern region ɛnɛ wokɔ fom a wontumi nnɔ ɛntontom ateɛ gu eastern region foɔ so a adɔ a yɛfrɛ no adɔ yɛntumi nkɔ fom
saa ntontom no ɔmo sɛ ɛsɛ koko
ɛsɛ koko ɛwi nipa anaasɛ ɛsɛ koko
mate sɛ mmoawa bi nso aba ɔmo so sɛ koko
nti John Mahama se menka nkyerɛ akyemfoɔ sɛ adeɛ no a ɛsi wɔ yɛn yɛ maamu no wahu yɛ problem nea no so ɔbɛtwa galamsey so panyin ɛfiri sɛ nsuo no a mɔtotototo amena na akɔ pae mmoa no
ɛna de aba
ɔma yim ɛna me no ka sɛ adeɛ wei aba no wobɛhu sɛ Ghana ɔma ɔmu bu ma yɛbɛka kyerɛ sɛ yɛaleɛ bi aba nti yɛbɛte ho tax wopɛ amak nyame nhyira wo na ɔne ɔkɛse ɔsoro de hyɛ ama nkɔ apam mambaa no manhyia no a na mayɛ nnipa bɔne Apostle Dr. Pakwesi Hima baabi ɔwɔ bia nyame nhyira no meankasa mante gradis
ɔbɔ nyina gye wo so ɛnɛ deɛ berɛ na yɛberɛ nti na wotwe sɛ n'ani atoa so justice minta ɛyɛ kasamafo ma adamdifo adu kɔ da bi a yɛmɔ mo ɛberɛ kakra bi na ɔmo so deɛ ɔmo wɔka deɛ ɔmo ahunu deɛ ɔmo ateɛ no na ɔmo de abɛbata nkɔmmɔ no so abusua aha ne yɛde tontonsansa ne bɛtoɔ paa hwi
ɔma no yɛyɛ maya ɛnyɛ yɛyɛ ne ɛwɔ mu yɛpɛ so obi aba adwabɔ no ase bi na asɛm bi ɛwɔ bia mu ɔka na mɛma no yɛyie kunsum yɛmfɛ mu man mɔtoro mɔdwo yɛmfɛ mu man mosɛmpa
say we dey some look fast so.
air conditioning no eyo ye man ye wiem sakra bobra so no maye wo nim se sabre ewiem be nyunyunyu eti wo Franco air condition bo dem ma edim se de besi abo afa na ne weather na edai akọ
good
what the make na anya sa ya no de ya o se weather ne na ma no so na ma asa kwa bi asa facility e ma mi asa no Franco air condition kopabito ubawura Franco Trading Enterprise on sabaka biato and a face CCTV camera obambonti pebibo office ho pebibo adwuma mu ho pebibo asori ho esam akronfo atiesi asori o we ya rough obi be wi afon aso dem ahotre na ba masese ye bokro no wa asori
can you imagine
akakane ne ye ka as poor as a church mouse benade church mouse no. Oh my goodness. As poor as a church mouse. No ye jira so dia die na di say wo pesika bi anya aso dem o. E wo hwe ni ho. Ba se krono no ye de wura asore. It is CCTV camera asore mpanifo mun tobi mo ho. Bowra Franco Trading Enterprise. On sabeka bi ato. Adwuma mo tobi bo. Efi o tobi bo ho. What do you say? Sa camera na bia wo number bia utimi monitor bi bia de ekoso colors no so affect screen resolution here come on it's been one from Franco Trading Enterprise since here was 0246 422338 0246 422338 and a 055 5939311 Alex Spencer all the way in the United States of America what the no pay Charles Collins Ediachi Dignity Right Ediachi where be any who know Facebook one
yes who I am Mary or say Jambra ewa hanom
solid
ya who William Togbo ewa hanom
solid
yenga who man sanso de de aba
ya man say and a web you
yenga who kwaku menu so aba kwaku menu o se kwa menka oni akra kofida ko mo so janu ye papa
that's right
Musa abatwa etuetua Kofi Simon o say center cannot hold
na Kodwa Sempa Furniture Works
ono so aba
Adum Kumase Kodwa Sempa Furniture Works
o say nanu po follow ye pa ono so the message aba e wa hanom e na fe won so say o say e friend no ya menu o so hwe Africa so a e kenke house e wa ka so na fi go say na tibia no
dokunu fie
o say change ni beba
change
is coming
no bi o wo dokunu fie enim say de dokunu bo esi asesa
kwame
onim say wukura 5 cities a enkosua miensa wunya nto na 5 cities ya de tokosua say ba ko mebua
kwame ba ko sisi akosua ba ko ya for Ghana you kwame enya you kwame kosua ba ko for Ghana kwame de bi meka say
na no na 1 city 50 pesos
you and ba ko ya 4 cities yes kosua Muhammad time nanse ya Muhammad time kosua ya be sisa maku 10 e dia mo 5 cities ne kosua 1 ekume kosua ba
kosua ya no pa ne mekosrawa
yes
sabre se de wede yesi ayi meka hwede rough anymore nani masesa
say right na nije huba
sabre ya wede ya sesei
you
wonya kosua ya noa ene mekosrawa
nation
na je na ni sisem
etuetua kona ho
ene sa mekono esa ayi kosua no woto ba ko wo se esa
me say for Ghana cities
Yehowa
this is because mekono ankasa kro de be shisha njenje no mekono wo be kinka mako 5 Ghana cities and American
ye Ghana ni nie
ena ejene na wo be twitwa no de ahyem no jene so ne bu ayeden
wow
you
anyway enkata ne ka asem ya ye kayana
kwame nkrata no guso ebo ho dawuro ewa hanom ntima mefa eye Daily Post mfa fiase ewa hanom se na asem kesi na no pe Daily Post ede abano of 2024 elections and vigilantism is Akufo-Addo planning another murder spree as happened in 2020
question
asem bisa
wo bisa
asem we bisa ye critical
me ye sure say Daily Post wo musa asem kwa
debi
Mike Dokosimo wone ne nsendwefo no wo bisa asem kwa me ye sure say enoma bia didi so enoma bia sisi enam so a wode aye nyina so a wode bisa sa asem no
good
wonya Daily Post a obetimi akenkan sa no
obetimi akenkan bi
enyina so no doso pa
wo me
to libre
enti me ayen koye ne me na kwame osofo no no hwe ahensem ena efe amane ne osoma horo
nhihye but mfonya Mike mo yusu hidie
ana obi oye ti se Van Damme
we the last killer pa
wo enti sa na ho amanebo eti o chem say chieftaincy minister o chem say military personnel are not they are trained to shoot and kill. They must not be involved in election security.
Chieftaincy minister.
Yes.
But it didn't.
chieftaincy minister Ora Stephen Esamoah Boateng.
Can information minister Kufuor person?
You. Kwame. Unim nieti apa opanika sasa.
Edi entra kache.
Yakoto aba in 2020.
Okay.
Yenim ro abangi edi ma asrafo. Eco player minim kra no na minitama West. College center honom. Breadru ese ye beku ye quality resource na kakra bia ye di nyina so no beba no.
Ye boabo mana no.
Ni nyina no no. Ehwa na ye a police fufure on ye di asrafo begina ho. Ena no na nam suntia NDC parliamentary candidate for Tema West that enu na man lose ye.
Wow.
This is because NPP omuhwe say on the grounds no one say won lose elections no. But the question is that where a chieftaincy minister can asema daily post everybody say say omu planning near AC bi omu sa planning bi omu nana.
Yemisa question we so. Chieftaincy minister na eka we. E dey na interior minister waka. E dey na defense minister wo hwe asrafo no so waka. What the asrafo ibeba be hye abato bambo mu.
Yo.
Chieftaincy minister say wo montete no shoot and kill.
And kill.
Sankofo no ye hia omo ewo biaye a ye to aba.
Good.
Interior minister, defense minister, e dey na mo waka.
Wo mra me kire.
To aso.
Ma me ntwa su kama nim. Kubi ewo Asante Mantem wo mo ya MP before. Wo mo kirem say ba me okoso na odi matopoku brempe ne running mate wo belusu aba no ewo honom enti eno de mi bompa so maintain na so no na ba.
Ese ntokwa bi e koso wo campaign team no. Enya asɛmtoa.
Matim.
Miracles aboaji.
Oye nsenjere wo.
Me okunini dan botwe. Twa we twa no.
Mate.
Wosaso wo akora ne yaje adwuma na boso no.
Meretete.
Ya kasa wontie.
Wo se dan kwaku botwe se odi ni na de egu fam.
Wosaso wonim dodo.
Yo mate.
Eti dan na dwa.
Enya ize. Dan kwaku botwe of your kre. Akora nte yote me baalea. Uni masa mi zaro. Mi se nimpom ti dan. Ni huye ana. Eye chiripo kasa. Sa na tenen. Kwa ma me komanim. Ghanaian Times na meduzu sabre. On se ma mpanyina Kufuor ne MPP fo. Oni se wonga feli. Mi bre na so ho. On se wonga feli. Eti gamanche. O se wonga feli. Akra bi the cleaner city no Kufuor ntimi anye.
Gamanche aja
ona kasa.
Oye na de.
Mo.
Te se de otu foje ebi so aye wo Asante Memo.
Mo.
And a gamanche so aja so. Hey, this is an indication of failure.
What failure?
Eti mampanyi watena ho ama nanano matena nkonya. Ena abeje wadwuma a wo moye.
Sa
eti enye ofere.
Oh, Messi ayaresa bia well Asante Mantem wetimi anye. Enti no two for say hill confanoche project no ono obeye.
And
Gamanche say Accra be the cleanest city in the whole of Africa. Ekufuor do efele wonge disika ne nyina. Enti me Gamanche ni ta ko turu amito so ebien. I'll lead the charge say me man crank. Ye be prapra nkramante so. E wo Ghanaian Times munya bia obetimi akeka kwam. Asemba kookratafa to so du ebiesa wo Ghanaian Times mu. O say stop announcing new taxes to increase revenue. Rather, improve efficiency in tax collection.
One I can say,
Dr. Beneding Dr. Ni Kwekusowa. A country rep at the International Growth Center.
Okay.
Ose abangin jaisel di tu de bia di tu foforo ba no.
Ubo de wuro se me de tu obo mi gina so de aboabo siganu o. Woso wonyan no anya de.
Onyan na ne wagije dada no. Bo modern na fa hye bra ne yehu adwuma so no di se sika na every
Okay.
Kwame wo kratafa so unya bia obetumi akenkan chronicle the other bani also local government ministry introduces safety measures at 6 intersections in Accra. James Nkramantem ha se bia ya bambo mu se be konkan ntino odi nhye bia ba e wo hono mu a omanfo nyina enhwe se ye betumi edi so e wo e hono
tale oma pa foto bi hontoma kodwo opon kroma na pa sa foto no hontoma kai se me ka che kodwo se ministry na woko no nyame ama ensema no waka wo radio so wabre nsuo to ana yiri won kan no nyame dia hye ne nsa sese wo na wo ho de obeye bia obetime di sa de no hujuma di eti kodwa ayedai
wa launch a hydro fund to mitigate flood risk
asika no obekwa akopa free
asika no obekwa akopa busia
every
if you manone
na ye bobo sia mane ye
enu ni asembisa no nen
ana nkran na de o musika beba
kwame enu di wanka
ana corporate Ghana no de nani atre
eni ye hwe anim se bia wo be ni sade a na kwame unim se
na chasa futu ye de to ha ye be di ho no kre
enu su ni asembisa no eti eyense bi na kwame unim se asengu ewom se no anopa ho ntama nyankropon se kodwo betumi ayadwuma ni de ne ukude mema nsu ato
ɛna atɔ
nti so gugu so aretɔ
ɛtɔ nso amanfo so no gu gyem
mo kodwo pɔnkroma de udwuma fama yɛ na yɛntumi ɛnkɔ yɛn anim ɛwɔ ɛhɔnom kwam maame fa wei ɛntua so ɛwɔ ɛhanom na the Herald newspaper ɛna media bay ɔse Judicial Council boldly stands up to Akufo-Addo and Chief Justice rejects additional Supreme Court judges so wɔn husan krata ni bi wɔse otemuafo panyin atwerɛ nkrata kɔmɔ man panyin Akufo-Addo sɛ ɔmɔ mɔden na mfa nipa foforo bi ajadufo bi ɛmɛpue mu yɛn asɛm ni bi akɛse ɛwɔ yɛ mamu so wɔse saa de ne de Akufo-Addo sɛ ɔgye tuma enye ye intene unya the Herald newspaper na ubetumi akenkan insama ewo mu no ebi mamimfa Daily Graphic tew mamimfa de nyina emra na wie achieving SDGs sustainable development goals extend debt relief to Africa. President Akufo-Addo tells development partners
Ghana ye mobododo se ye pacho momfa ye kanche emwa bia mu betimi dia maye e dia fa ye ka ho no mesre mwada muntwa boni nso bibi mai na Ghana nso ka ho na ya ye mobododo
mayari Kofi Mayari
Ghana panie
Kwame Yari
how many days in ye Republican status
and ka we nani nansa
3 days in you 3 days after achieving another feat with regards to our Republican status. The Daily Graphic, the national newspaper, is reporting that the president of the Republic
of Ghana,
the president of the Republic of Ghana, is asking, is begging for an extension of debt relief to Africa. Iba, mommy and to Africa, why?
Now, Kwame,
you must say, sorry.
Obi baby said, what happens to Ghana beyond aid?
What's that?
What happens to Ghana beyond aid?
Nana do I swear. Open Bisanana. Because how many can we be so? Man, can you growl? Nana Refi. Oh, Nana Refi.
I only know to that. Go to Migacha so chow.
Nana to that.
What's Migacha said? No, Janusen, the wash all now. Yeah, no patu pano. And just say, in a football park.
And you're no about this.
Lovely.
Nana to that. Go be a be a moache. But me cancer 21st clinic. Womuguswa, yes, sciatic expert. Ubisa said, yeah, then sciatica. Or twice in three. Did him call one nase one. Or yeah, now what tiano. And no sciatica yo. At the 21st clinic. Saya Sabiano, Omana, Womu free. Woman say Branian this at Biano Juma. Branian you free Sati anymore. Omon Krabata, the Budu what you want, my Ghana. From us is here was 0540 311 311 0540 311 311 21st clinic. The sciatic expert. Now no namin in TV as well as them who a year advert be a more dine and this a year reality show be a disumia bediagro. Oh, me win many ajopa. Yadisumia bediagro. Kwaswa Nasha TV as well as Edwate. Bese no my power TV so. Now I better watch that we a Jumakuo, not per se a bow with Juma dear, and that's a Juma who deuda. Who dear Fabre, TV as well as your Baba who deuro. TV as well as a bow deura, you bet about 2 money, Afro Cine. XYZ broadcasting and I. What the some radio XYZ to so go. And a Power FM, a Jenny Chiatro. I had that. And I'll pay me change my phone. One Little George Health Shop. Little George Health Shop. Ye bomu dia. Na ya maya monso. Ye bomu dia. Na to ya ni ahohoa. Ye bomu dia na ni dia betina ya kumamu. If ma ho fomenti, ma ya ma manfo yade asusu omo. Yade na sese o ma ye gu nchen. Enu pa mo ton. Ana yes edro no wo ton ma okeke o. Wo wi no de futu abata wo. Ache okwan ya obenu medro na ebedi aboa wo. Enti na nse adaje. Bowra Little George Health Shop. Enu bia wo platobia, enu pa bia wo platobia. Ozabeka ho titru kowa mixture. Sedro na ebetimi ye bambo ewo wapom no. Esi yade ho kwan no. Obenya bia to Little George Health Shop. And afei eye Dominion herbal powder, 3P garlic mixture, Mr. Kill, Hola herbal mixture. Send running nyina ye tombi. Ewo Little George Health Shop. From us is here 0243 140213. 0243 140213. Little George Health Shop at Jaquai. Ewo Tema Community 5. What the PV be runabout and a Presbyterian saw down in them. Little George Health Shop. And yes, to talk keke. ɛyɛ nnuro asoɛyɛ. Well, yeah, kasa we nyina na make out say Medimoses Clinic and Herbal Center. Omada omagina Ceylon cinnamon so at the Medimoses garlic capsules abedwa so. Opa hoden sa hoden beba betena wopom. Na dane den nyina wagina brane. Dane den nyina watima ye adwumaden. Wabra womre, wabra wonti obre e wo wopom a. Enya make amfo Medimoses garlic capsules at the amount. Medimoses garlic capsules also ye bamboo si yade e ho kwan. Emma yade nka rough. Kai say a immune booster. It's also check your cholesterol level no. Woma wo sori o say anansi ache me nasi atata me naya yetitriti me nsa yetitriti me kon ya stay for. What the name Medimoses garlic capsules pemitone Ubawura pharmacy herbal shop ewo Ghana fa na nyina unsabeka biato. But the case mpa se bia yade bi tisa diabetes, stroke, hypertension, sciatica, typhoid fever, malaria, was se ho asem. Se bia ba ya de ginger bia de how kase abeto so a. Oh! And Sada Jabura Medimoses Clinic and Herbal Center. Medimoses Clinic and Herbal Center. Oh ya okowa yade ne yebete de ta. Dr. Prince Osei, Dr. Dogbache, our year Kofariba, Emma Medimoses Clinic and Herbal Center. Was a man saying, Tio, Mumra, Mumrani and Samo Yadie, Mumrani and Diadian Hujuma, Mumrani and Yadian in Frimoso. You shall mention our dental barrier, what the post station, you know, and a dear Nimushe, and I feel so 8 years old, and can see anymore. Our Ghana Highway Authority yard anymore, Accra Ministries. On Sabeka Medimoses in Krabatani War, and I face so a Janko. Woman is a year school for the deaf, no, and a dear Mushe. Wokumasa, the Yan Nidia, a Hinema Kokobe, and one of Medimoses Clinic and Herbal Center walk. From us is here 0244 068 447 0244 068 447. And then who that you're dying one by one on crown mine and say you won't come up P ADA and I'll pay on my Ghana economy no is in a mess, is in a crisis. And yet na memo and I say abayi ye said abaya ye dibedi hujuma. Na ye kasi ye share on my Ghana that in swa. And yet and she share and a dianim and then she share and nam kwanswa and by betima boa na you on my Ghana free Saturday mo. Why am Comocassia Pie, Babedi Wabra or Mino at say. And I feel so dear see what quarter rano, you have a bobo hokakra. Yeah, Wabram Comotric and of course with Dwabo Ase, our power 97.9. But ya what tibia or what drink and Susia, between the Abataj Medianachi, or Facebook also power 979 and a TVXYZ Ghana. Solak Natural Clinic, Dr. Solomon Apia Kubi. Was a quam man into Ghana for you now say. So say, Oma specialize in certain diseases. To say kidney yadia, liver wounds and some, a war wounds some, and a face so. Wana sia tata, wana hono. Nina would the year Solak Natural Clinic. And I'm say Yakwaberi and I say Yaberi Yaho, I was I yadia you winty. Yawa doctor from my pa, or Mutria Bob Bill. On Betty Saju or how when you know Hujuma, say kidney, say liver, say a woman some, say Onasin Tata, will never be now, will be now, with your friend in Abadai. It was Solak Natural Clinic. From us is here 053 055 393 2631. Number in here, Chatuo 055 393 2631. And your Solak Natural Clinic. Also quality first. Prakasa Kwame aristocrat had a message about and I feel so man so we all the way. I will touch it come too. Was it Kwame? Good morning. Sameshadi omo kika dia fa yesika sawi ho a Kwame bibia da di pefese ani amina antamomuni enso anwedro bia maye His Excellency Sampi Yalen so message on the say newly obtained explosive okay what my dream see ade bia honorable Samuel Okudje to ablakwa address here was say newly obtained explosive documents on the sale of our Senate hotels reveal more damning evidence against Honorable Brian Champon's Rock City Hotel and Senate. on the 24th of May 2024. The transaction advisor, Dr. Sam Mensah of SEM Capital, wrote to Senate Board of Trustees on SEM's professional analysis of Rock City offer for the 4 Senate hotels. And on the memo no, ebata na asemi a working. Was it SEM Capital ye dwumakoi? Ne memo a wa intercept and asa ne memo ya ne nzaka a wo kasa fa Rock City Hotel. Said ye na hoodin city, said ye na husuo city, said ye ni sika sem city no. Was it ensem a woman no? Emma bibia bede di pefe se eye no krampa se was a Ghana ni bia e sorry tia sa na mona Senate pesu wotuo se wode hotel nai edema Rock City. In grata asem no, sika asem no, Rock City ahusuo te said the same capital kan no. Menko baby, make a wasam. May you one by one, Edia Chow, Wabra ye read the honorable Samulukuja to Ablaqua, Edia Bafufro, and pay. I was ya, Sabradia, ye would have Ghana Health Therapeutics. A doctor for night crado, pressure with the truth on the Peonwa, on the soldier, 70 agosto, Elfia, any bravo, or Jana saw. What you say, any brain number, 2 me answers answer. 2 minutes answer that. And you see, 2 minutes be a war. Akwaya wɔhwɛ sisi ya was it stroke udi ni nyen wɔhwɛ yo wɔhwɛ sa oni pass mo executive dey
prostate and herbal center
what oni pass ne konti ya ni yei what the Ghana bam fawa ebe farmer no and what one wo bobna and me konti yo and me konti yo and kasa kire no one oni amanfo nya kasa kire mo
yo meda obi bia se meda itie for na hwefo ni na se se na ye da edikan ya wutie ya Ghana Herb Therapeutics and Executive Prostate and Herbal Center ye na ye di edro nwanwaso Ghana bam eba ye Ghana bam nti nipa ebeta efre yen bam fo no ye Ghana bam fo a ya ba studio ha say omta fre bam fo
no
bam fo no
any bam
yeah, it's a Ghana bam for any Aba studio has see. Now, you say T40 as they say, aside say, Yaye drew one so Ghana bama munim de dano. Yamia dom, Yayen drew a whole draw BT say, save 500 Ghana man capsules, Prostar Joy, and a Crypto 400. Nini na ye available across all pharmacies and herbal shops nationwide. Baby Bia obefa Bia, Tokrobia obefa Bia no. Yen drew no. Ewo bebia eti se o hwehwe yedru ato a enye yera kwan ana enye ade a ebe difficult krama de hia ene se obewura o nearest pharmacy bi eben o yendro ni ye very efficacious na eye adwuma sene ada ne da ye ka no eye adwuma pa na ene ne de impempi no eti for friend ya in some of time ebisa ne say eba ne sen na yendro no ebo adwuma sa na eti ene de me de mo kono the scientific process ye make sure say yendro no ye produce no up to the quality standards FDA any WHO for asset ato sene a obi bia benya ne ho entiase say o fa edro na ekọ mu a we ni na ekwakoye. The first thing is WHO ahobambo authority ewo wiase ha nina, which is World Health Organization. Omo the standards and also omo the guidelines bia ba obi biara oye dro ewo ewiase ha sei no ewo se wo follow. Na sa guidelines no omama ye niama ahodro and 9 eye makomako 4 ho asem na making. The first thing is quality. Eti obi biara o produce edro se onipa enom nya ayaresa no ewo se edro na o produce no eye quality bisa wo se ede ne quality ho asema making ewo se edro na onipa ne fa no enwo se eye contaminated with impurities and as germs enwo se onipa ko ne fa edro na ekoma ne yare foforo eno no ne friend quality. The second thing and say WHO say ewo se edro bia wonum bia ne so no eye safe. Safe no de patch say and what's a drone now wonom no ekwakofa problem bit to say kidney failure and now say liver problems esa dia bro eti no sa no kidney failure and liver failure ni kun when your solution to your problem and that is why WHO dia ba say e was say a draw wonom no e was say very safe edema. The third thing that WHO esa insist on as a guideline no efficacy. say ka say eduro ye efficacious a de patch ne say eduro no seni ayaka say ebekwa koye ewo wo body mu no saa ne ba koye nti na Ghana help for say ye ba ye ka kire mo say Prostajoy eye for prostate disorders a obi biara fa Prostajoy mema omonya problems with their prostate ni na no mofa omuni na Freddy Adansi said no kre dia ye ka say Prostajoy kwa koye wo body nim aye ne pepepe saa so do mofa Ghana capsules a e ko mumu a seni ye ka say ba koye adwuma e boost testosterone ama omo mema ye ne CPA sita no e ko mumu a saa ne kwakoye omo fa say 500 in so no omo di adanse pi if you say ye ka kire mo say eduro no e contain a lot of active constituents a boa prevent infections enuti na den nyina e be ma afa emma afa omo ni na afa e boa asom yare efi infections a adokro omo ho enti no WHO standard a oka say esese eduro ye efficacious no Ghana help for ya making sure say yen drone ni na efficacious. The last na WHO esa akatre yen a ye drone no. And they say e was a we drone ye affordable. If he says say a drone nya affordable la onipa no obey den ato a drone no. A drone be boa ni mpo a nipa na start a drone na onom no. Onya sika enkoto foforo. Inti WHO say e was say a drone a will produce no. Ye very affordable. It's Ghana help for Nyame adom yendra ya produce ni na Ghana man capsules Prostajoy save 500 afen so crypto 400 and a Ghana bam no nini na no a qualify for quality, a qualify for safety, a qualify for efficacy, asa qualify for affordability. Iti yendro ni die WHO for as certify say eye edura eye papa na ya qualify sa nema we ni na so oba Ghana hanso a omo mayen authorization Food and Drugs Authority, which is FDA. Na FDA in kratem no omo se enwo se wedro so contaminated. Nini na no yaye. Omo ka se yenkoye toxicity studies. Nini na so yaye toxicity studies ne patre say edroni ko mu no enkofa ensunsuan so oboni bia nsan fam bro body no. Yes, our labs ni na I make sure say yendro ni na qualify for toxicity studies. Afen so yes I ye bia ka ho mpo a ye friend say chronic safety and acute safety studies. Ne I patch say edro no o fund for short term e bia 1 week. And now say 2 weeks. And now fund for long term which is bia 1 month and now say 2 months. Edro no o fund for short term and now long term no. En kon kofa insuinso so boni bia emrel. Eti Ghana help for the yendro no eye quality, eye safe, eye efficacious, afeso eye very affordable. Na meka esidua say etiefo although yeba ebeka chemo say yendro no ya available across all pharmacies and herbal shops nationwide. Abo betimi akwakoto bi anomama mwenya ayaresa no. We are not advocating for self-prescription. Ni America ni say yen ka say wo yare a be nkwa yare sabia enko nkohwe de ye wansa na wano medro enu nti ena mpanifo tenase ena ye hospital nwanwaso a eye ultramodern a ye friend no Executive Prostate and Herbal Center. Executive Prostate and Herbal Center yi no kra ni say serious professionals ena wo honoma omu ye adwuma e de ama Ghana fo utie yen na se ope ayaresa edimu ayaresa eye very affordable for we nitre Executive Prostate and Herbal Center asuyeye o hwehwe yen ayewo UPSA Atraco Road ne soa UPSA Road no e hono ma ye fra be Pilma Hotel Junction me say UPSA kwan ne so na ye fra junction bi Pilma Hotel Junction udu wono ma ye billboard kese esi wono ma be directed to Executive Prostate and Herbal Center enya yera kwan kra ebia wutie yen edin abo prikakra edin executive no empantre say e honom no niama ebo den wo ho ye pese Ghana 40 ase say muni na mo ye special e de mayen Ghana for e very special de mayen omo da yakoma so eti no ye ka ne say muni na no mo deserve executive treatment e was say oba ayaresa bia e was say staff e de enimotie e ne hia na afen so omo ma quality service senia ubefi ho no wo de enije e na ebefi hospital honom saa na ye no e wo Executive Prostate and Herbal Center ebia edim prostate na da so ninti no o feel say prostate nkwa na ehwe wo eye no kre prostate issues there o the ba executive prostate and herbal center eye koko work kra e the mind say ye prostatitis say ye benign prostatic hyperplasia and now the another ne kokra my friend prostate cancer ya sha catheter for so many years me patcho o pese wo yi catheter ni na fa we ni kire executive prostate and herbal center asuye e honom na ye the prostate masters ye bebo you problem ne fio aside that no yes sir ashe all OPD cases into who tie yen or hypertension or diabetes or any sort of infection infertility or pediatric counseling ni abet mi adwin hu bia yare biara no wo de wani kire executive prostate and herbal center ye betimi aboa no kra say serious professionals are doctors for ekukuda medical doctors and a ye adwuma e executive prostate and herbal center afen so ye labs ne so no omo ye adwuma wo ho ne so ye a doctor for sa doctor of medical laboratory services and e wo ho MDLS doctors for ena ewo ye lab wa omo ye lab no nti wan kasa imagine afen so no oba ye sonography department ye twa scan e wo ho so so no professional ena ewo ho no ma o twa scan ahodro ye wo 4D scanner ebia utie yen wa uni health industry nim no o be feel say ebia say ka say 4D scanner na ye den 4D scanner no krene say omo mu twa scans no wo hu de ye popular ewo Ghana ha no eye 2D scanner eno no entimi yi u problem na di now so ye 4D scanners no eno no etimi say problem e she kirew she nimo she nchenchen you ebe ida nini na ho adi say u ba betwa prostate scan na ye catch ye honom say o prostate size ni ye 20 grams baby bia obeko bia no ye 20 grams ena obenya if you say yes scanner no very very correct scanner aside that and so professionals are more nurses ekukudam accountants dispensers are more on so no omo boy adwuma day in day out I make sure say obi biara oba executive prostate and herbal center no or the ayaresa edimu and efio fa we ni kire honom UPSA Atraco Road ne swa uko wenim kakra ifra baby Pilma Hotel Junction Pilma Hotel Junction. Yen signboard no esi honom executive prostate and herbal center. Udu Junction honom now say wo feel say unhu kwan na. Your numbers no yasa display ewo billboard ni so betimi afre any of the numbers. Ye be direct ewo nchen mu honom your numbers me de ebe tudwa. Eye 0244 727028 0244 727028 and 0276 814 884 0276 814 884 and our last number no 0537 266 300 0537 266 300 obi biara fa na nintre executive prostate and herbal center asuye me de manuesi me so me da se doc say wo de nkomo kama we e de abre ye ba ba je ayarehwe ayaresa ye jimu di pa e so Dwabo Ase di pa 97.9 latest story about ye need die chire enche bia batese ne his excellency Sambi Yale akasa fa ho eye ade we tie o se nanu ya na MPRA e de betu dwa se sa Senate hotel ton na o ton dia ma eye Rock City no sa na montu no watwa sensen enye se wajayo was suspended. Now latest information honorable Samuel Okudje to di ablakwa e dia betu dwa e dan edi ensema sem capital ye dwumaku a ye born pa se won hwe Rock City na ho den won susu nkari ne sika sem na ho den na husuo de ogina ma na won fa ho amanebo embra na manebo ni mu nsem no emu orem Okudje to ablakwa se wogina amanebo na sem na eda di pefe se gina ye na woni Ghana for PS no eye sa pepepe ena wo so mo ye edi ensem ne wom ye ba be bom edi akyem wo abra ye de san komo no ba ba ye dan ho abasisi e wo TVS YZ but live on partner
ni dia yi ɛyɛ enuane a yɛkɔfa ba poultry ɛmo impose start ɛno ne nneɛma a yɛkɔfa ba no yɛbɛtumi ayɛ ne nyinaa bi ɛwɔ Ghana ha etia papa sɛ ɔba a yɛbɛtwa sika de ato hɔ a yɛde bɛsɔ adɔfo a ɔmo bɛyɛ nneɛma ɛwɔ Ghana ha na w'adwuma no a woyɛ no sɛ wotumi yɛ no 24 hours a 8 hours nsa shift biara no over nipa 100 a 3 shift ɛyɛ 300 na saa afɔ no ɔmo yɛ adwuma na yɛtua ɔmo kaa ɔmo kɔ fie a ɔmo bɛbɔ ɔmo yere no ma pɔnma etu ɔmo bɔ ɔmo yere no ma pɔnma no ɛnɛ yɛ akutuo dagya no kɔ ɔmo de sika no bɛbɛ dwom to ka ɔmo sɛ dwom ayɛ deɛ ayɛ mɛnya ɛnɛ yɛba yɛ ho sɛ obi a wɔbɛgya sɛ wɔbɛgya a wɔbɛtɔn nneɛma no wasɛ kɛkɛ no ayɛ dɛ wada sɛ yɛtɔ adeɛ a obiara de wɔbɛbɛ dwom ayɛ dɛ abɛda ne nyinaa.
Well, time check in the studio is 9:09 a.m. It's a rainy morning, and it's a morning full of revelations. Thank you very much for staying with us here on TVXYZ and Power 97.9. Yada masisa mugusu amudi echi. Medika catch us on about samolukuje to ablakwa. Na wura baby the bay in our snit in Sensemi. Snit Hotel Eton and Sensemi. Where would I kofa krata dance DB Eddie Abetuda. Na krata ye kan wasemi. Aye krata sem aye capital etintimiye. Sem capital ye jumekua aye owura Charles Mensa Edia owura Charles Mensa ono na J Mensa ekunu no ono na sem capital ene aye ne dia eti ebra senate de betu dwa say Rock City epese woto hotels 9 no wo ma sem capital ye adwuma bi na eche bi ebekwa ahoma so adwuma no mo ye ne mu nsem na okuje to ablakwa dia betu dwa na adwuma no mo ye no wususu akari ahwe Rock City na hoden wo sikasem any enoma enka ye ho na okay nkan krata na say on the 24th of May 2024 the transaction advisor Dr. Sam Mensa of Sem Capital wrote to the Senate Board of Trustees on Sem's professional analysis of Rock City offer for the Senate hotels, the 4 Senate hotels. The omu ye ni edikan Rock City's 61.20 million latest proposal offers an installment plan, an initial $30.80 million with a balance spread over 24 months. Eti sikana wodi kan boy say wodi bejina so dia ato hotel and 9 which is $61.20 million no. Was it obeti metriamu $30.80 million na sikan kaye no ya spread it na wetia no kakra na hona Sem Ghana ko hu bibi yakwa ahoma no so na ye ne opanyi a waye adwuma e was net for 38 years now rise ye be ye CEO Emma MPRA His Excellency Sampi Yale yene ni nko officer no so krata yi ene nsem ya abobo bai wadi achi pa Honorable Sampi Yale His Excellency Sampi Yale ye mo achi mo akwa ba
yo kwame me josu net sen
nyame na daroma ye kura mu pa na revelation na ama mesi afem say na Rock City woni sika chechre mu tre
tama asem yi baye okuja to ko baye me dia asem we baye enkofu bibre kasa bia na mfata but for those of us who have worked in Smith for a long time we knew that what Okujato was saying was the truth, and he was right. One, Smith for decision to take these hotels in was because Kofi Annan, Kofi Annan, the former Secretary General.
That's right.
Was then working with the tourist board And he decided that tourism could become one of the major foreign exchange earners of the country. And there were some heavy liftings here, or say, get a chain of hotels, get transportation well established, have some other hotels in other regions. There's a best support to a tourism business, but there was no company in Ghana able to me, ISI, all these jobs here. Government came to me here. So he thought that SNIT could do it. And it's for these reasons, for the promotion of tourism, basically. It's why SNIT entered into this hotel business.
That's right.
And they acquired Labadi, La Palm, Elmina, Buzia, and the former catering rest house. They are running side here we are. Now, what I know, and they say, every change of government in the and the new managing director of SNIT, then you look at the subsidiaries of SNIT. Instead of looking at what the organization is doing, the first thing they look at is changing the managing directors of such subsidiaries like Abattoir, hotels, and others. In this particular case of the friends at hotels, for a long time, SNIT have had very good managers from SNIT itself. Somebody like Ernest Thompson, had even been the chairman there. Many well knowledgeable people from SNIT have been there.
Yeah.
Then at a point in time, they decided that, and under Adokufo, President Kufuor brother, when he became a board chairman, they decided that they should even bring some South Africans to manage these companies. And the record shows that they did well. Then when this MPP came, they have sent some people who have no knowledge whatsoever in hotel management. And the way I manage, against most SNIT training, La Palm attendants, they are the best, one of the best trained hotel attendants in the world, anywhere, I can tell you.
Yeah.
But the management, sir, MPP would call Elizabeth Ohini, is what has caused the trouble. So for example, one general manager, colleague, and another manager, one could take you over. He was claiming $18,000 as acting allowance.
As their allowance?
Right? Acting allowance. Sir, we are deputy general manager, the general manager, colleague, for 6 months, $3,000 a month.
Wow.
In addition to your salary. So such reckless expenses, and a man, able to get you. So in a way, you package the thing and set it to fail. And when it is failing now, then you decide that you're looking for strategic investor. Many companies in Ghana, almost strategic investor is SNIT. Many companies, Goyle, what? All the companies you see in Ghana, banks, there's no company in Ghana for any strategic investor. So if the strategic investor say he wants a strategic investor, then there must be something serious. And for me, as a person of my age, more SNIT, and my I know that the issue is not about strategic investment, because if it is recapitalizing these hotels now, SNIT has the capacity to do it.
Okay. I feel Sam Capital, Nasemi.
Yeah. So when they decided to, and I just wanted to lay the foundation, the decision to sell the hotels was wrong. What I said, because it didn't make financial or strategic sense.
That's right.
Now they claim that they followed due process. Okay, and in due process, when you see Sam Capital, I know Sam Mensah very well, so he will not compromise on his professional competence.
Dr. Sam Mensah.
Yes. He would never compromise on his professional competence. In the fray of politics, people were even thinking, say, but again, no.
Okay.
Charles Mensah, okay. Charles Mensah. Sam Mensah, he's been a financial analyst for a long time.
Okay.
His analysis, after reviewing the bids, had come to show, the claim by Okujato that there was insider trading is true. because the conditions now about some identifies and look. Can't prefer saying Rock City did not have the financial wherewithal to go into such transactions now working. She can't cry what the year, what's what the bitchiano. We need accumulated money. What the bitchia?
Etitubo, $61.20 million. No, and only Sika now what they babaji hotel 9 no Aboswana.
And no.
And Oka said, Obetimetriamu $30.80 million. Nenkayeno, what they Bosome Edionu 9 Kakaka.
Which means to say transfer ownership and a management right to him now. What is next at the Hotel Nabaya Juma at Yaneka. So what I say?
Matthias,
a strategic investor. That's a would you say in the MOBia. There's a breaking train, Musikani, who go to any one. That's a winning Canada. Now, so would you have now as a 110. Now, when you tell now, you want your Canada, and you're not the commission hotel man. What you say?
Yes.
Two, the amount now, friends, hotel, Rock City, Cotiano, it was way below the standard rate, and that's a standard figure. Now, everybody expecting to bid, would do it. It was way below it.
Standard figure on there say.
And only
109.7 million. Anna. Hello, Your Excellency. I'm say we free Ahumano so you checking out you shena you to restore Ahumano nafe you to be enkomo no ye pa na bibia nkoso wano high Dwabo Ase pa 97.9 and afen so TV XYZ enkomo ya wutie we a fresh one afen wato a we free phone onimo Honorable Samuel Okudjeto Ablakwa de abetudwa same capital omo ankasa de Rock City to nsenie so esusu kariye so musika sam tese no sika wo boy say wo de ba abaji hotel no aswaro se sika na enkura no ente wuti ono His Excellency Sampi Yale a anka plan ne strategy ni say wo abaji hotel na ekura no hotel ni ye adwuma no na watam se sika no dia goduaka o wanansi nyansa no watam se sika no dia dey agoduaka. It is over $60 million. No, enkura no. And was also yeah, guy say metriamu efa above a little above $30 million. Nenkaya no must spread over 24 months. No metriani nyina. Na some capital for ye omuhwehwemu. I say awu person bunu say sika ne kura na. Bibia da di pefe say sika no woni. And a standard price na ye de hotel na to no so. And yet, no so and no try. And His Excellency Sambi Yale say, where the dance here say, insider trading me a day, echo so amia bedru and pempensoya, yedri so betima saba homano so, not yet to me at waso. Yes, any PDS, the any papa, no difference. Osmana Yarega, I am Renimuni, why a deputy national youth organizer, Emma NDC Amayogono. Osman. Avena Bishia, Bokodia.
Good morning.
Good morning, so. We pa.
Oh, so far so good. Even though I've been born in Tichale, Neman Koye, but I say, Obi, I work and pay. Brand Champo, Crampo, Pessoa, work and pay. With yes, net hotel. But yeah, they're bepping and yeah, bepping.
Fantastic. What was Mamini, His Excellency Sampi Yale, Missy enough, Yatuan Commono. Your Excellency, Aqua Babio, Ahomano. Nanke ye di ehwambo ba nyamencha de oba homano so etina mi busa say standard price no na say
Kwame I want to be very like I want to be very accurate. I'm in the car,
okay,
and I can't do this
Matthias.
But secondly, say by example this hotel no dey work and pay. What I say, the third issue is this: the conditions are one demand by an example. It was not made available.
Hello. Best a can what team intra. A one humana article Ghana the insurer to say Osman. Nsuo to ase. But asem ya honorable Okudje to Ablakwa dia banya asem foforo. But the man ye foforo eye say same capital aye professional work. Now why evaluation ewo Rock City na ho den ni sika semo ene enhihia na opese one senate economy me sure say what the achire especially sabre ya MPR dia betudwa say anamontu no o ma suspend latest revelation we e de eneka e de fa asem we wabra me mo ache mo akwa Osman
I don't know what to say
nyame na daroma ekura musa
and I paid the and top so say everywhere yeah flooded.
Yeah.
Just from East Legon to Osumi, almost 2 hours. In the lack of proper planning, the lack of the silting.
And there's one
leadership.
Yeah,
oh yes, and there with the national issue with the NDC MPP. But I want him say once upon a time cry under the NDC no okay or man penny Nyaketwa Ibrahim Mama not so person or dredge or door river for free.
Yeah.
And our MPP for the year politics kekum I say okay. Me and I want me equipment, me and I want me manpower, me say me am free. Some person me in the politics no problem. Munkoye. Almost 6-7 years down the lane. Now your project be a friend a Garrick project. I think they gave Ghana over $120 million from the World Bank just to desilt the same Odo River. Up to now, some of the contract, I think Zoom Lion.
That's right.
Up to today, the Odo River has not been dredged, but he has been paid. So what has he been dredging? The question I'll be away be why is it that NS and so tall? And one said the whole of Circle becomes flooded. The whole of Nima area, it becomes flooded. We call Carnation, it's a swimming pool. Who call who say one village one dump no I say one city in Accra one dump and one area in Accra one dump every time it rains. So lack of proper planning and lack of good leadership no, that is why we are where we are. Okay, so
but
okay so minister then too in charge of sanitation. She was also in charge of that same Gary project no. Over $1 million than it passes. So if you have ministers in charge of the Sultan including the states, have all these monies under their beds. Of course, Obia who say they are not really doing the job, but Obia this can
Anka ideally no plan ben anka was say na ye de to akwa mu said be ya ensuo tra sa no ma we NCC.
Uko Hydrological Service Department, which is under the Ministry of Works and Housing, which are more master plan under the Garrick project no. Every year, no, they're supposed to construct a minimum of 17 kilometers of drains. Just a storm drain, 17 kilometers every year. And aside from that, they're also supposed to desilt huge drains, no, about 20 kilometers of them every year. So if you do that desilting, who say at the end of the day, no, then you can now measure where again I will expand. Here again I will build more drains. But if you don't do the first 17 to 20 kilometers now and it rains, everywhere will be flooded. Who share reports? It was I think the auditors report 2020 auditors report.
Yeah,
almost say they were expected to do 17 kilometers, but they ended up doing just 1.7 kilometers of drains. So if you are expected to do 17 kilometers of drains and there's funding, and I want to hear, how do you expect the rains not to flood your country? So it's lack of proper leadership. And these were funds that were secured under the NDC. We started the process. But unfortunately, say if you so they're expected to just continue with the project.
So that means because and the Chronicle air report to say, could you upon Kruma where minister for works and housing
hydrofan yes
wakopa hydrofan want to say eno ne ebegina so e dey mitigating flooding so enye sikasem
because there was a first tranche about from World Bank. Why wouldn't you say World Bank for if they give you money and you don't properly expend it and properly account for it, they won't give you the next tranche. I'm not surprised that up to now we are unable to expend the other tranches, because up to now, Osika say this amount of kilometers and this number of kilometers. Once you're unable to do it and they have already given the money, you have to come and explain where the monies went.
NDC says here to Abama sa or how we be free so because how now Ghana no we pan the dim.
Yes, but say I bida. We used to do it and we'll continue to do it.
say Garrick project no and the hydro service no. Yeah, na copy can buy. Just that one said there's a process. And see, before scan be drew, you know, by that time they are to and they were taken out of government. But we're expecting, say, once the money has come and government had already written to the World Bank, say we are going to use the money for A, B, C, D, you know, Ministry of Works and Housing and Hydro and the Ministry of Works and Housing, or can we use this kind of for its intended purpose, that is to build the drains. Because if they're able to even build half of the quantity of drains that we expected someone be building, and by this time, the flood situation, it would have reduced. What I say, but they were not even able to do up to 20% of the plan of the master plan of Accra. But and when I say, we have done it before, and I'm a catcher will say, Odo River, even at the time I hear Nisa Garrick Sikano, a businessman decided to do it for us for free. But when we say about it to say politics, I'm say, oh, Ibrahim Mama at the time, no, just come from government. Now a contract. It wasn't a contract. It wasn't a contract.
Question is, Osman, a mitigate or how now flooding the banana.
Yes, it mitigated it a bit. From because so say what do you call it? June 3rd, no. June 3rd flood. That was, I think was
fire and flood.
That was in 2015.
That's right.
Yes, started say reduce and I say this silty Odo River. No. In 2016 there was no flood that was to the magnitude of the 2015 flood, which means that now making progress kakra. But the issue is that we're expecting, say, by the time we would have hit 4 or 5 years, and don't be flood at all because of the master plan. Because once you desilt the Odo River, no, and honestly, because we say the waters come all the way from the top, from Adenta down all the way to Seko on side. Once we desilt the Odo side, no, not top on them, now we construct drains, no, so that saying so at the speedy bar, it doesn't come with all the dirt and all the sand. Because from a brew all the way down, drains shed anyhow. So when it's coming down, it comes to so many stones, so many silt, sand, and rubbish. Excuse my language, but it was rubbish. Yes. So it comes with all that. So the master plan, if we had constructed the drains, Yes. So if they had stuck to the master plan, we would not be where we are. We would have been talking of other things and not flood by this time.
But we are in a different situation this time round. Baby to say Chebi, for the first time in I don't even remember the last time I saw Toya, Ezoyiria Bouda Chebi Krum, Uko Asante Mantem Kruponwa, and then Miamia Bia, Ezuntra Etra, and 10 Yirim Fano, a Wewraho. So, Moba Baimwa, Treme, Niamobaye, was Abre dynamics in Asano.
Many opinion. When you say environmental issues, no, it's not just also about controlling the flood. No. Since you're all bought around Chibi, all bought certain areas that flood has never happened there. You see, when you continue to degrade your forest reserves, at the end of the day, no, the end result and now the effects is that you are going to have environmental issues. When you say forest reserves, no, trees are almost for our forest, no. When it rains, they also hold good quantity of the water, and the water doesn't come down to the city. But if they in, they out, you chucha your forest, you know, they galamsey. At the end of the day, in Swota, the water is running down to us in the cities. So it is as a result of human misbehavior, human negligence, and human irresponsibility, which is being coerced by the government. What you say? Because also places like Chebi, these are places very close to forest areas. But there's no forest. Because Galamsey and Sikanti, they've cut down all the trees and they've become Galamsey sites. So the water runs down.
Now, baby, to the Kumasi Gate, Kumasi Gate, Kumasi Dum.
Say, Kumasi
Gate, and also,
say, and also can hold lack of the proper planning of the city. Recently, me call Kumasi, who say when you check around Asokore Mampo, Dwabo area, Honum, Sepe, Honum area, Honum, who say they are now expanding the drains. Most of my serious construction, they are expanding the drains, they are expanding the bridges. What you say? So if you don't expand all those things, we say at the end of the day, the flood will now go into the city, like KJT. So the planning of Accra and Kumasi is almost the same. If you don't construct proper drains, if you don't do proper desilting, and so top and of course human behavior. About with this one, vote. I mean, this issue there. I say once you use the same cane to hit
Techino.
Thank you. Because we, aside from government negligence, no, the human elements, we human beings, whether in this way, we any politics, human beings, we have to be responsible. We have to be responsible. Because you cannot, as a person, no, want to make us say, oh, so better into me rubbish, no, I'm coming to throw it into the gutter. I mean, no.
Because what you see, Obi am a fa.
That's the problem.
Not hear me. What you see, Obi am a fa. So convenient when it says you toro, Mamma Fengum and Enqua yo. Na baby a bequenco.
Oh, they are not coming there, no crap. But that is where we also come back to the government, especially assemblies, local assemblies. No? This is to make sure, say, our rubbish collection, our cleaning agencies are able to do proper work. But it boils down to the fact, say, so they will be able to her as Minister of Sanitation and the Pakoni Yejuan also where we sika and or sika be done pass. By all means, you will not have the Zoom workers working. And so I don't have a problem. So say Namne be pro if Tino. So the top, who is the Minister for Sanitation, once 1 year in the Juma year, it's all about corruption and stealing. She cannot clean the country. The same thing, it will go down to the district assemblies. Don't have the funds to clean the country. Then it comes to we as human beings, our irresponsibility. Because at the end of the day, me peer by Zoom line for assembly for whom fat rubbish. And to another side, me chest rubber never shegu. So you see, it is a chain of events and a chain of effect. The irresponsibility of government, the corruption of appointees, and because government is irresponsible and its appointees are corrupt, the human beings too will tend to do what is convenient for them.
Matthias, so I ask, NDCC will be resetting Ghana.
Yes.
And no matter what boss way, kwa so and a mubedi hujuma na mabua a resetting Ghana.
First and foremost, I want to say, Afina yebe launch your manifesto, but I'll just take you through even some of our policies to make sure, say, we make Ghana and Accra the cleanest and safest place to be. Yeah, bida. And we have done it before and we will do it again. First and foremost, it is not about appointing many ministers and putting somebody at the Ministry of Sanitation when at the end of the day, the money ends up under the person's bed. It is not about trying to give appointment to cronies and friends, but it is making sure, say, you put the right persons at the right places to do the right jobs. The Ministry of Sanitation, I think, will go even under the Ministry of Works and Housing.
That's right.
So, Interbeya Ministry of Works, Housing, and Sanitation. To make sure, because the Ministry of Hydrological Survey under Works and Housing.
But sanitation, can in that local government here?
Yes, under local government because of the what do you call it, the district assembly.
Yeah.
When they said this time around, so because of the hydrological service aspect, I'm on more funding to they get the funding to do most of the desilting and the reconstruction. So that is why it's going under the Ministry of Works and Housing. But the most important thing they say, we are going to go by the original plan. And our original plan is to make sure, say, we continue to do the massive construction of drains. And it also, so we'll do the massive desilting of drains within Ghana. And the next thing is to make sure, say, all sanitation contracts will be held to make sure they execute to the latter. And this time around, you are not going to do like the MPP is doing, say, it's going to be one person to monopolize the whole thing. It has to be decentralized. So say in this region, this sanitation company is in charge of this region and they will execute it to the best of their ability, even at the local level. This region, this other person, because sometimes demand it becomes very difficult to execute. And once Obi monopolize it, the person even becomes very last. But if there's competition, if there's an annual renewal of even contracts, there's competition to perform. But say nipa bako ko sign contract maybe at 8 years. Background him say even the next 6 years, if I don't even perform to the best, so we are going to decentralize even our sanitation collection mechanism. We are going to decentralize it even to the local level, so that at the assembly level, because they know where and how to manage the rubbish. What me fa obi from Accra say uncle manage sanitation or boko.
Yehoah.
What you say? What me fa obi from Kumasi uncle manage sanitation or Takwa. When he doesn't even understand how the dynamics. So it is an issue of Hydrological Service and Ministry of Works and Housing. One, we need to look at the drains. That's one. 2, we need to look at the sanitation part of it. And 3, we look at the leadership part of it. And that is how the NDC is going to look at this sanitation and this flooding.
Finally, yentima before na sa suban na wo ka wan asem no. Because akofo apen so omo ye campaign bi a border on discipline. Hana adwun so those things. But anya adwuma. Moso buy no me hu se moso de National Sanitation Day aba. Ananka no nso mu gina so se de ba bibi be ba be che mu se e wo ma ye mprapra ye mantam ni ye potemu. Be no minim se de yesi koye. Se ba nipa no suban no nso a tememufo so ne ye betima ya de aboa. De na mo be.
Kade, what say it's also all about education and also sensitization. What say nipa baby amutu kwan kwa aburicha mo say oh ehoyefe. It's not just about government, but it's also about the individuals. It's about letting people understand there's a sense of belonging and that there's a sense of patriotism. When you say as a person and as a Ghanaian once you realize your taxes are put to good use, automatically you become responsible.
Oh, sir.
Yes. People tend to be irresponsible because who say government no crumple, with your tax no crumple. At the end of the day, and they have LOB and pass. So why should I even worry myself to pay tax? Why should I worry myself to be responsible? But Obia when they say, oh, tax amichano, every day my street lights age. Oh, every time there's a pothole in less than 2 months, almost fix it. You will be very, very responsible. And there's no difference between the white man and the black man.
Of course.
Take out the color. We are all responsible. Just that the African mind, and I said the Ghanaian mind, once we do not believe, our taxes are put to good use, we will tend to be irresponsible because we don't believe, the government is doing what is right. So why should we, the citizens, do what is right? That is why we are where we are. Because people have lost hope and faith in the government, especially this MPP government. Because we do not see where our taxes are being put. When who baby taxes no more there, they don't do anything with the taxes. And at the end of the day, you realize that people have fat bank accounts. People are in him say, oh, time are more opposition, they were not rich, but all of a sudden ebimu person almost talk to hotels.
Yeah.
Ebimu almost say, oh, I had this amount of money under my bed. This is unacceptable. So as a youth, once you realize the government is not seeking for your welfare, you as a person too, you will not seek the welfare of the country.
Baby a baby a no si dan.
Now I
say me tia say men si dan wo baby a ensuo trifa no. No akosi. Ye be twa stop work and wa paper me boa.
And now a plaster.
But is that justifiable?
It's not justifiable. But I want to say it's a referendum. It's a push and pull effect, because if government is responsible, automatically it reflects on the citizens. But because government is irresponsible, it also reflects on the majority of the citizens. We want to say even the few that want to be responsible, because government is irresponsible, a majority of citizens are also irresponsible because of government irresponsibility. It affects the few who tend to be responsible. Because we are going to say, because you at the end of the day,
Yeah.
So instead of going to work at 7 o'clock, instead of 11:30.
Because of a couple game.
Share Lagata and our TV program. I feel which one is even more popular? Most of my share TVs and they don't work. And that is because the government itself is irresponsible. And once government is irresponsible, it doesn't have that moral right to hold the citizens accountable.
But more normal ways. Is that to say Sabre Namonia responsible?
No, what I say, there is always a magnitude to issues, and there's always the quantum of issues. What you say? Example
issue.
Yeah, no, issue.
Well, yes.
How?
What that magnitude?
No, quantum. How? But you also need to look at how to mitigate it. Example. At every point in time, I get a friend graduate unemployment. Under the NDC, graduate unemployment was about 8%. And then under MPP, graduate unemployment is about 14.8%, which is almost 15%. you realize that the two are not the same. Which means that one has been recklessly irresponsible in managing the graduate unemployment, but one has tried very much to reduce it to the barest minimum. Because there are certain things you cannot get as an exam. No, it's very difficult because 70 A, 100 so A. What you say? But at the end of the day, no, the Bakro Benya 95, no, they clap more for him than the Bakro Benya 70, no. The same thing. Example, issues of corruption. It's very difficult to completely eradicate corruption because of the human element. No?
That's right.
But as a government, no, you need to bring it to its barest minimum. So there's no way end this one day and can say, oh, we have been able to eradicate irresponsibility in human behavior. No, you can't. But you need to bring it to its barest minimum, and that comes from leadership. You know, until I say, "Nam no be pra if you know." So it needs to come from leadership. If leadership itself is responsible in whatever it does, if government is responsible in whatever it does, it reflects on the citizens.
Very well.
What do you say? Say under the NDC, anything that has doubled or tripled under this government or has been worsened, we tried very much to reduce it to its barest minimum. But these people, all of a sudden, graduate unemployment, a cost from 8% to 14.8% graduate unemployment, which is that, and then the number of people are almost unemployed. It's almost 1.2 million Ghanaians youth. Mebuno are they are employable. After they are wholly unemployed. And we share the number of Ghanaians who are underemployed. And the pastor say, but Sajman, I say,
and some fata.
Thank you. And fashion, but we all share. Would you a cry? Would you know on the 27th? No, by 2nd of the next month, naturally, who negative.
27 by 29th. Where we?
Make another 6 seconds. Was it? Then 2 days. Just I will come back to negative. Just would you a from negative? I will call 0. And I'll call negative. So we will say. It's increasing by the day, and it is becoming a national security concern.
And funny enough, so when you see wabra by a topic in Ankasa, so when you see now what to say, Minister of Finance, the way in charge of Yesika Samontotri, head of economic management team, the one year human wage out one way campaign, but Minister of Finance, Beginas Impieso, Ebesisu dia say, near to yen in a chino, yet any corner. Sika Samono asase a man home so. Anya bia ye ne omo ayede omo ka edi nkomo ye de ano afefo omo ho ama ye pia ye ka no de akwaye anim eti no san ye mo ye nsem mo mo a. Do they realize that your crisis one Osman?
I mean, say the government and most especially the Minister of Finance, no, they are not living in Ghana. As almost free Mars and Jupiter. Yes, almost free Jupiter. Unim Jupiter. One of the planets. Thank you. As a
international.
Thank you. As a Minister of Finance of Free Jupiter, no Bessia. Yes, because he doesn't know what he's talking about. Because they be almost say, oh, corner, no, and government in Ghana is even better than it used to be. Minya, in fact, say now we'll toss cement 20 cities, and then. Who toss cement 105 cities? Yes, the normal. Just almost figures no growth rate, wine rate. Me can say at least me mama or Joma or call Joma here. Forget this economic fair. I know they are almost bad debate to cry about over, but I want to come to street normal economic analysis.
Sure.
So that me mama are all free, all Nessa, all call Joma or here. Those days, even last month, almost saying toast crates 9,002. All of a sudden, yes, Adakabako. All of a sudden, in 2 weeks, a jumpy call almost 4,000 and 5,000.
Yeah, 5.
5,000. Into share quantum leap, no, from 1,200 cities to 5,000. Means that it tripled. And our cashier will say, what any corner? So, Koto Ejania. Oh. Anyway, chikra me say me koto watch. Me say on mama wele 1 CD. Mama page and it say boss. That's how we need Ghana.
Lawyer. Mama the page do say.
Lawyer, I said, what to watch out? I said, well, they have here, will one city. I say, oh, the country is in a mess.
In fact, one more share Kumasi. Wele Kahuro.
Just what's it? Why not tone and you may will it sebe contom yeah will any corporate mean talk sebe no so intimate talk contom so intimate talk. Abam Bonnie Bank company and I'm sorry I must say more 10 corner. Me say every figures no one by one. Lorry fare cry from just a few years ago.
Yeah.
Look at all 5 VIP car from Accra to Abia Bolega. Now around 120 Ghana cedis. And then look at the whole 5 VIP bars from Accra to Bolga. It's almost 300 Ghana cedis. So corner ben our 10. The car say fuel under John Mahama. A liter of petrol was 4 cedis 85 pesos.
Yeah, Kotuano.
4 cedis or liter.
80 pesos. I got to a barco.
Yes. In fact, me franchise gallon. Na gallon bako na 17 no na gallon bako 20 yes na gallon bako was around 24 cedis.
Yeah, slightly above.
Yes, slightly above 20 gallon friend is petrol gallon bako na 20 something cedis. And then petrol gallon bako it's almost 100 cedis. Yes, gallon bako. Just say we've not changed the gallon size. Gallon they're the same size. Petrol also your sister color no the same color, the same chemicals. The prices have gone up.
And
fertilizer.
Maybe
fertilizer. Maybe we shall find out fertilizer around 80 cedis or something. And then fertilizer is almost hitting 1,000 Ghana cedis. Fertilizer. Condemn now your chemical be or yeah they spray a friend is cocoa no. I friend to condemn. We decide.
Okay.
The prices have tripled. Everything, let's say planting for food and jobs. You see, I will talk body, and I cocoa cramples, finger baku say, cry 4 cedis. How? Yeah, buy and I say, where, how did we get here? So, when I hear and I say, me say finance minister and I say any member of this government can say, "My 10 corner." I say, "Me boy have."
So what done the economy nani?
Now you both because you see the government has also taken the silence and the humility of we the youth for granted.
Oh really?
Yes, that is true because I want to say Kenyans have already shown their strength and with what just happened in the recent days. No, was a more serious, massive demonstration against yes, so against the taxes, etc.
Yeah,
but you see, Ghanaian youth, naturally they have become very calm because they also believe in the electoral system. Say, we then cry at the end of the 4 years, make what about here. So this is also a way to send warning to Madam Jane Mensah. Say, Ghanaians over the years have believed in the electoral system that it is the best way to change government. So she shouldn't do anything to jeopardize that. Otherwise, it will become a national security issue, especially coming from the youth. And I'm telling you on authority, the youth of this country are ready to change this government.
And what they come now? Yes, now
say I come there now, and I come do, and I only Ghana.
Madam Ibisansa.
That means so many and I come do.
I come there.
I say I come there. I come do directly. Cry. Come do be a baby or frail.
Absolutely.
What show me for say every day calls upon calls demands, and they are very genuine. Obi bet my frail boss. I mean, Didi, you would send me 50 cedis.
Wow.
And you know that way, and yes, or as or your wagadre. I come do nakasa, and there's no work. And any money they get, they need to feed. And people are only silent because said the name say on the 7th of December, they can go out there to legitimately vote this government out. So they are ready to be patient and calm till 7th December. But if Jane Mensah takes the calmness of the youth for granted and tries anything silly, we will not be responsible for whatever outpours or whatever effect that may happen, because the youth are ready to come out and face this government to kick them out. That's why they want to use the legitimate ways through the ballot box and the ballot paper. So Jane Mensah, the best she can do for herself in this country is to be as transparent, as independent, and to be very, very strict on whatever work she has to do. She shouldn't try anything funny. Because, boss, a comma I work a how I work you have no idea.
It is a finance minister Koso Kasi. Look, Anye Biano, Yeka ye dia a ya diswe waya swono. Yet me pia konenim. Eti ye koma hariye kakra. And what the yen in a swo ekase enunti in the coming days ne months no. Sidi nimpo ebeba benya hodin bia. Ye betmenya gidie wonimu. Se ebetima dania.
Back in the days, now my maker share me say the greatest disgrace a man can ever find is what the car won't mean to your can. Yes. As a man, you walk upright with dignity and respect. So what the car to your car. And I'm a boy.
But say get your tour. What to be nanti?
And I wear that nanti.
I did out. Matuasi.
What the car won't mean to your car. Only under this government, almost the car. I want to mean to your car. Or my shifted a cannon. I feel almost say, or my idea. What kind of disgrace is this?
Also, Matiman negotiate.
In the first place, like I said, with your cano, what's the negotiating? How can that be an achievement?
Why a skillful negotiator?
That is an incompetent person. In the first place, just say you have shifted a cano to another government. Most of them share IPPs, no currently power purchase agreements, no, and the power companies, no. Want to meet you over billions of dollars, and I will try to shift the cano to the next government, and that is going to be under John Dramani Mahama. They should pay them now. Because at the end of the day, now you have used the power, you are unable to pay. And at the end of the day, see, I hope person will shift a cannon to the next government, which is going to be John Dramani. I say, people for there, they are good at near senior man, near John Mahama. John Mahama, no, I bet fixing at the end of the day, or few are near Babium, near best senior man. I said, why who should be coming to repair your mess? The NDC comes when the country is in a mess. We fix the country, and Ghanaians say, okay, you finish fixing the country, 8 years is enough, let's bring another government, we bring the MPP, and they mess this country up again. And that is what has happened. Under John Dramani Mahama, the economy was flourishing. And in Nuntina, the MPP was able to borrow the kind of money they borrowed because they were credible. As a person, so when you're credible, I want to be at all. Want to me, we were credible. We left the economy at B, and then a junk economy is condemned. They cannot borrow. You understand? So even if John Mahama comes, it's going to be difficult for us. We need to, we need to reset the country. No? As a phone, we need to reset it.
Mobile is a phone, the end, but where your money, your project is said 33 million. A bedroom bembezu be near Brosa. Mobile reset it.
It's like I say, first and foremost, someone said John Mahama somewhere last 2 years now, a lecture be Ghana at the crossroads.
Yeah.
And I'll catch you almost say the advice he has for this government, the only way out, say this government needs to go through an IMF program. Okay, so at the time, finance minister say KKK, we are a proud nation. Yeah, call IMF. Yeah, they are home. Yeah, sick. I am call IMF and they call IMF China. At the end of the day, straight to the IMF. We even went begging IMF just almost 6 months, 7 months. And at the end of the day, IMF who are mobile. IMF felt that actually, if we don't help them, the democracy would be at a risk. And IMF some of them are thought. Said they don't believe in this guy. How can they give you in ball? Said them are thought. As a Gary auto lonka. Hana cop. It's a woman sikanosa. And I'll catch up and say the next thing. We'll say government machinery spends a lot. So let's reduce government size and government spending. Let's reduce the ministers. I will say, hey, they don't need to reduce the ministers. And almost increasing number of ministers. No, that is an irresponsible government. Because when say, and aside from that, they try to reduce a few of the ministers by removing the deputy regional ministers, and they push everybody into the Flagstaff House, government machinery. It will show a government machinery budget. No, it went up in billions of Ghana cedis. Into say where they say robbing Peter to pay Paul. did you go or did you come?
It's this one in here. Mobile day.
Into John Mama proposals no is that one, we need to cut government size. Into I'll say this time around, we are going to deal with not more than 60 ministers.
Okay.
That is one to start with. So that will even cut government size. Two, we are not going to the open markets to do any further borrowing. Yes, we need to see how we can renegotiate our loans, because most of the loans are MPP contract here. No, they went for high interest market loans.
Hey, renegotiate.
Yeah, we have to renegotiate because there's a new government.
Obi Nancy, you catch us say bilateral canon. Bilateral for the say. Sabre ya tu say wuntia no. Edru 2026 kasa bi anyway besi omo kwan. Omo ju omo de.
Oh, sir,
Mama better renegotiate.
Sir, I know they are human beings, and they also follow the democratic exercise. I wouldn't say there's been a change of government, and I mean there's nothing bad about negotiating. We'll go to them. We'll negotiate. We'll try to speak to them. Say there's been a change of government. There has been this. I mean, I don't want to even go into the details, but whatever be the case, no, there can always be negotiations. If there are no negotiations, then we'll see how we can, because most of the loans need to be repaid. Most of the loans, and of course, we'll come to the power people, see how we can renegotiate. Most of it has to be renegotiated. And say sometimes people also have confidence when there's a new government, and that confidence and that goodwill will build on it to see how we can renegotiate most of it. Because if you don't renegotiate most of them, we will not have the briefing space to operate. Because by 2025, 2026, just say left, right, center, abda obia beba say oh meje misika.
Abase renegotiation and then January. Say no one aban ye. And the moment was right.
But aban say omo they to this mess.
My point is
they shouldn't have even brought us into this mess.
I get you. So renegotiation.
And this government has lost the goodwill, both locally, globally, internationally, and worldwide. They have lost that goodwill. That's why even the renegotiation, they are finding it very difficult to achieve anything as far as renegotiation is concerned. Okay, I say even with the IPPs, the independent power purchase producers, at a point, John Mahama had to put in a word. John Mahama had to put in a word to plead with the power purchase companies.
That's right.
Say, we beg you, and that's when they listen. That's to tell you, say this government has lost that goodwill to negotiate with anybody. It's my opinion that former president or your flag bearer. It's me even plead with power purchase companies, IPPs, independent power producers, for them to listen to him. Just imagine when he's president, he's calling them for news. He has that goodwill. John Mahama has that goodwill. He has that track record that if he's going to renegotiate any more debt, they will listen to him, because this is a new government he's going to form. This is a government that under his term, we didn't falter in any of our debts or any of our mandates. This is a party that made sure, say, we didn't overborrow. We didn't overborrow in the open market. When you say under John Mahama, we just took a little over 3 billion in the 4 years.
Yeah.
We moved 13 billion.
Wow.
13 billion in 4 years.
Yeah, come on in your pim. This year. Yeah, this year the other way chat for.
Most important thing no me mebuna omo Ghana and globally. Say the 2024 elections is about mebuna yohano, both employed and unemployed. This government has been a monumental failure, very irresponsible in its governance. And say we will sit down and allow them to rob us of our future, and we shall resist them with every iota and every drop of our blood. Legitimately. John Mahama has told us, say, in the next NDC government, there are so many things he's going to do for the youth and youth development. Number one, let's say he's going to set up an entirely separate ministry for the youth, which we call the Ministry for Youth Development, aside from the Ministry of Sport. Let me say, in times past, your Ministry of Sports, Youth and Sports, and only say they don't pay attention to the youth. Sports no camp football pay. What do you say? So this time around, we are going to have a separate Ministry for Youth Development, which will go into youth development. All the youth agencies will be under the youth development to understand the plight and the problems of the youth. This is a visionary leader. The next thing I'll just talk about, is about the Youth Entrepreneurs Development employment program. And also a program that John Mama is looking at say not everybody can be employed by government. We need to develop the youth to become their own entrepreneurs through training, through financing, and through some level of keeping the economy stable. So we need to also create an economically enabling environment so that the youth who want to go into entrepreneurship, they will be able to go into entrepreneurship because economically enabling environment, and then they say, or banker, the interest rates will be low for you. It will form, and so from China, and then the dollar, if it's at 2 cedis, even in the next 4 months, it should still be at 2 cedis. So that you don't need to overly increase the price to affect your loan, and you don't need to. The stability helps in business. So this is what John Mahama is seeking to do for the youth. Most important thing is about creating an enabling environment, and above all, the game changer is the 24-hour economy. Just obia bit me ejuma, obia bididi peche.
Fantastic.
This is what John Mahama. There are so many of them. You will launch a youth manifesto on the 12th of August, which is the International Youth Day. Then you will hear from us as the youth of this party. Myself, the Deputy National Youth Organizer, my colleague Ruth said, or not say Deputy National Youth, boss Giorgio Pari Ado, aka Pablo, will be launching the Youth Manifesto on the 12th of August.
Okay.
So people should watch out and hear from the NDC because this is an election for the youth. This is an election by the youth, and this will be an election purposely driven with the youth. So the youth at the center, the youth at the wings, the youth at the helm, and the youth at the back, and we shall capture power. We shall make sure we kick this government out of power, and the NDC will form the next government, which will be formed with a majority of the youth.
Very well. May I say, lawyer Osman Yariga Esquire, on an in kind of pay war, Dwabo Ase Power 97.9. We're a deputy national youth organizer at the NDC Amanyo Corona. Kabushi, I say, youth level. The youth is on fire.
Seriously on fire.
I was here to say, Judy and Yadiabana, China, my best you, our Power 97.9 and a TVS. I said, we're ready also. Power mid morning, Airbus is here.